Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're out here. Took a little break. Got my head around some questions I asked myself, other people asked me, and I just add context. That's all I do. We're still out here. Newsflash, we're still under attack. Okay, we are under attack in every fucking way, shape, or form you can think of. Even the way that we think. So. So this is like a construct. We live in a construct, and essentially it's like a prison. Yeah, that shit hurts. Nobody's lived. Yeah. Alright? So we're in a prison. There's highly contrived. Excuse me. Everything around you is like part of a decision matrix construct. Right now, I'm in the midst of like a bunch of decision matrices going around, all to affect a change with a certain desired outcome. And as I've stated before, the desired outcome seems to be to keep the fucking dome up. We need our gas bubble. Believe it, don't believe it. I've been thinking about the mechanics and how all that shit works. It's a big fucking question, alright? It's a big question. Especially for one person to figure it out. I haven't necessarily put the hours. I haven't put the work in yet, guys. So, there are things I want to talk about, and I know it's a lot to talk about, and I keep talking about all the same shit, but it's important that we bust out of our own, like, mind prison, okay? You're in a mind prison of your own making, which is, no bueno, okay? We can't have our own little worlds. Okay, we live in the world, our world, together with other people. And it's important for us to take care of it and be good custodians. Without understanding of how it all works, it's hard for us to have context, and then we can't really understand what our part is in the whole thing, right? Like, so you want to discover, okay, well, for all you know, man, there's somebody higher on the pecking order, and then that guy's just like, your life is all centered around giving this guy a good deal on some piece of equipment, and like, okay, so I just sat around here for 40 years, fucking stuck here, and now it's all about like some type of equipment. Yeah, the food falls from the trees. Yes, it does. Well, it's supposed to. And for us, we're more. I mean, the trees are good, but there's other plants to eat. This is what it used to be like all the time. Okay, food would just be falling from the trees for everyone. Everybody got food. So now we have this whole supply chain centered around food delivery, our sustenance, our water, our electricity, our monetary exchange units, whatever you want to call it. Like I've said before, it doesn't matter. It's all the same theme. So it doesn't matter what paradigm you subscribe to. It doesn't matter what you believe in. This will thread through. Okay, this will all thread through, and it's evident if we just take a moment to sit back and observe, and let us not have a sense of always, okay, what's next? Like, we're constantly being distracted. We're constantly being time stamped everywhere. You go, you see some type of timestamp, something to tell you it's ready in 3 minutes. Remind you that there's a minute. And if we just take a minute and reflect on what we see around us, we can easily tell we're in a cage. And it's important for us to understand the mechanics of the cage, how it works, And who's fucking watching us? My analysis is we've been cooked down and congregated in certain areas of is what I am led to believe is 2022 USA. So we have what's called a president, and they're kind of responsible for everything, and then supposedly 535 people that represent 320 million. It's kind of fucking nonsense on account of I've been growing up sold the story that we're the greatest nation on earth. We got all the best tech, we got all the best education, we got all the best armaments, all the best everything, all the best equipment. That's us. That's what I've been taught. We don't lose. We do, maybe we rewrite it or something like that. Like, oh, we call it, you didn't lose the war, it was a conflict. Yeah. So, it's hard to tell anymore. I mean, as we go, we can also see what threads through is the historical narrative. And this historical narrative that we have threads through in the sense that there's always only like a few people left, like actually that kind of lived through it, still alive. For example, we were told there's this war called the Vietnam War. And as we get older, there's less and less veterans of that war to tell us any stories. And then the ones when they're, the guys are asking the questions like, oh, I don't like to talk about the war. And it's like, well, what you guys actually do over there, man? I mean, and maybe you get talked to the crazy guy that fucking, yeah, I killed 30 Charlies. I got their ears dangling on a necklace or something like that. What? I mean, there's a lot of, the historical narrative's there for that. And I've met enough people to where I believe people got on an airplane with a fucking rifle and at least went to some location and shot up at least a bunch of people in some trees. Drop some bombs from an airplane. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We have that historical narrative. But it's hard to believe and contextualize when our documentation, it wouldn't be hard to just take that same content over and over and over again and just keep, here you go. Yeah, that's what happened. Well, they buy that, and then when they buy these stories and this historical narrative, they act in this way, and this is the outcome of the kind of group psychology, the mob mentality, the Americans. They think they won this war and that war. Here, let them think they created this tech, and they have to buy that tech. It wouldn't be so hard to manage a society. When you can control what information gets in or gets out, who comes in, who comes and goes. And I explain this all in the context of the plausibility that we still have, we've got our own AI systems today now. I mean, a lot of people get phone calls and don't even realize they're not even talking to a fucking human being. You get the robocall, blah, blah, blah. And like 6-7 years ago, we had 70 plus, people just talking to these fucking robots, man, talking them over the goddamn phone. So, if they had that then, and we were talking to them, what makes you really talk to them all along? I'm just saying, just throwing that out there. How can we prove it? The only thing we have is just a historical narrative to say, hey, Dan, you're crazy. There's no way, right? Like, we discovered all this shit in the 90s, but for all you know, say we're already 100 years ahead of where we think we are. Just assume that and then start testing the hypotheses, like, hey, what would it, how would this play out? How would that play out? Say we actually lost the war and we're 100 years ahead. Whatever war you want to pick, right? So, I mean, at this point, who fucking cares? I'm a human being living in some community, and then I go to school and I'm taught like all this shit to have this history, to have a belief structure that makes me not question the world around me. And after being in the world around me and seeing what I've seen of the world, it's kind of like, yeah, you got some head scratchers here. Some head scratchers. Because you're stuck wondering, well, alright, well, how old is this vehicle for real? How old is it? For all I know, this car was made 20 years ago. Just saying. In some distant land that we have no clue about, and we're taught that, we're the colony, and we're, or, like, how would you know? How would you know we're not the colony? And if the world was 100 years ahead of us, in some parts of the world, we would have ourselves a tough time getting out of our little mental cage based on the data and inputs. Because I watch enough news to know a lot of that shit's nonsense, and I know enough educated people who will watch the news and pick it apart just like me, and see like the overall like macro trend, and it's just like it's wholesale destruction of everything we know, simply to get our resources. If I just suck it right out of the atmosphere. So that's why, and I can't really attribute that to, because I don't believe humans would do that to each other at some point and be like, all right, like, I'm gonna go fall in love with these people or something. Like, you're gonna get soldiers to be like, hey man, like, I'm gonna go procreate. Like, I like the way that girl or guy looks. There's not. And considering that, like, we're supposed to be like this melting pot, we're more like a mixed salad, and we got everybody here, so our whole community then therefore is how we define it. And I'm not just talking in our imaginations, building some mental construct of data, of purporting theories of how something happened based on a historian's interpretation of the language at the time. And it's really hard. It's really hard to draw what you can see. What's easier to draw out of that is to see the power structures and agendas based on a certain lens through history. Okay, so once you get to like the end of the pattern, it becomes like obvious, and then you start seeing it everywhere, like son of a bitch. For example, I see these towers everywhere, and they give us mobile communications. All right, and they look like they're really hard to take down. And I don't necessarily believe that's because of wind. I think that's also because, like, there'll be no ladder on it to climb up there. You got to have a crane, some specialized equipment, some guy with specialized equipment come out to maintenance it, or to put new things up. And for all I know, I feel like I'm looking at that shit like, man, nobody knows what the fuck that is. You don't know what the MIMO antenna. Everybody just like takes this technology for granted, and they don't know how it works. And when shit starts failing, everybody's just kind of like fucking running around like worried about their own shit, and then shit starts failing, and then people start disappearing, and everybody's too busy to worry about the people that disappear because they're like, holy shit. And it's tested over time. It's like shut off like a faucet, like we're some big petri dish, like we're an experiment, a fucking experiment. So let's see what happens when we shut off the water and the power, and you shut off the money. And the money's kind of double dipped with the power, because now everybody needs cash, but then the fucking machines don't work, and the machines can be told not to work anyway, even if there is power remotely. So you have remote communications, basically our whole life is set up like there's a choke chain around every one of our fucking necks. That's what I see. I see a choke chain around all of our necks, and we're taught to believe like everybody gotta have a boogeyman, and we're taught to believe the boogeyman is just it's our government. Oh, it's just our government, and it's way worse than that. It's way our government's struggling to stay alive. I promise you that. It ain't everybody likes have this belief that because it suits our agenda that we're Washington, yeah, right. And it's if our politicians are stupid enough to sign half the shit they sign into law, man, there's no fucking way they should be running the country. Point blank. All right. So it's just wholesale robbery of the treasury on their part. And if you're in there and you're a do-gooder, it's hard to stay around, stick in the club if you don't conform and then sign. So we get to this position where there's like nothing left. There's like nothing left, and people are starting to get scared, and we have a lot of like big real estate, empty houses all over the country. And slowly there'll be like this rollout of people with like the individual skills necessitated by the job that's at Site B in Sector 20, living Sector 25, right? Like, so now because you're some able-bodied man, you're going to wind up somehow through circumstance, via circumstance, everything around you, the whole stars will align for you to get your ass like up to middle of nowhere, Badlands, being fucking Holland Pipe or some shit. Yeah, like there you go, and you won't be able to say no. It'll seem like such a good idea at the time, unless you have. There's no way to describe this anymore. I mean, it's called unless you're aware. You gotta be aware. When we're aware of everything that's going on around us and can see it as an agenda, then at least you have a cognizance, and you can participate in what's defined as politics, anyways. Who gets what and how, that's what we codify as. But it's a lot of it's just. It's like they're siphoning, and then they siphon again, and then siphon again as they're cooking you down too. So they get you every single way. So we're taught we have this community that's the United States, and we have these huge tax liabilities, and there's all these fucking people out there. They're just like running up the Medicaid costs, and all our veterans, and they're all collected, and we owe $70 trillion somehow. And you go to the VA, and depending on what state you're in, man, that place might be just a fucking dump. It'd be a fucking dump. Like, what the fuck is this place? Where are all these like homeless vets and all these people need help, and then you got the fucking tarps on the roof? What the fuck is this place? You go in there and like some just waiting line for the. I mean, there's no way. There's no way we have half the shit that we say or think we have. There's no way. And if we do, then we're grossly underutilizing it, and we're not. We're just burning rubber here, spinning our tires. And I can't figure out where everybody else is at. I can't figure that out. I don't know who sees all this shit with me. I don't know where they are. I've seen some people that ask questions, and sometimes I don't know if I'm just being pumped for information. I mean, I want to help everybody as much as the next person, but at the same time, I'm not trying to just give away everything that everybody's worked so hard for. Educating us humans. So at this point, what can you say? You see all these people disappear, not right in front of your eyes, but you know they're gone. They're gone. Look at the size of your parking lots. How many people used to be here? Why do we build parking lots like that? I mean, we have the technology. We could easily build underground parking garages every fucking place there was a park. Why do we do it the way we did it? And that's where the bubble comes in. The big fucking solvent dome over our heads. And the only thing keeping it off us is the warmth of our planet. And since we have our warmth, it creates a bubble in a very cold, compressed solvent. And that solvent, over time, what I'm thinking, I mean, that's our number one priority. If you boil everything down, you view it through that lens, and you follow the money, you follow, all right, what are they doing and where? You can see an agenda. Okay, so that's what I go based on. Who's doing what where? And then I pick apart your strategy and agenda based on, hey, well, taking a peek at the data. So I can do that on both sides. And I'm done poking and prodding around, because, like, alright, I feel like I'm just making it up as I go, and that's what's happening. Because I can't interface well with all the power structures. And you can go and pray, and maybe your prayers get answered. Maybe they get answered in a fucked up way. There's obviously something that contrives the world around us. As far as calling it a simulation, you want to believe in eternal life. Well, okay, so how about eternity is here, and we take care of the fucking place while we're here? The molecules are not for waste. And it's like a sick joke that we have to keep our own planet warm to keep a bubble of fucking highly compressed shit. It'll freeze you instantly, okay? That shit up there in outer space, and that space foam, whatever the fuck you want to call it. You want to get down to quantum mechanics and blah, 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 blah. That shit's solvent up there. It's solvent. It's solvent. It's all the same shit over and over again. It's just, it's densities and buoyancy. Alright, so, I'm always complaining about how fucking insects just come out of the tree and just jump on you like, oh yeah, I'm gonna, dive bomb freaking 1,000 times my body length, I'm gonna survive. That's because that ant jumping on the tree, it's like he's in water, man. That's like us jumping into a big, deep diving swimming pool or whatever, fucking lake. Fall from the sky into the water. Okay, for the ant, it's already in a solvent. And I want to talk about that too, which as far as the bugs and animals that we share our world with. But some of these things I can't contextualize their existence. Like, how in the world do you just? Because I try to feed these ants all the time, man. They ain't eating shit that should be what I was thinking they'd be eating. Man, they only want the meat. That's it, meat. They eat your hair, your fingernails, your skin, and they'll eat all that shit. They ain't gonna eat no fucking, just a piece of mango. They don't want the sugar. It's like, wait, what are the ants all about the sugar? Like somehow they get energy from somewhere. I see these ants all the time, and they'll be making nests of little ant piles. I'm like, all right, man, what the fuck you guys eat? Because I've been throwing everything on there, man. Like, nothing? You take none of this? So they basically run around underground and then dig through shit and like hunt down the earthworms or something like that. Something that's functional for us and our survival will be under attack by some other shit in nature. Okay, so it's gotten down to that. Pretty soon our soils will just be like faucets too. Right now, certain parts of the world, man, you put a seed in the ground, it just grows, and it grows fucking good. All right. Once we start losing our biome and the things in the soil which help grow, that shit's always constantly under attack, then we're gonna be in big trouble with our fucking food supply. So we have to pay attention to what's going on in nature, and I know nobody is really enthused about that because we got all these great virtual worlds We have all these virtual worlds we like to be in, and we forget where we came from, what we're about, and we think we've conquered some world, but we're only we're just like literally like we're part of some fucking machine. We're part of some machine. We're part of some experiment, and we're fed certain products, certain availabilities. We're stratified all over the world, all over the world. Um, Different sects of us with different genetics, different biological makeup, variances, and then we're fed food and storyline. And as far as what we do to each other, there's not like there's certain rules that you can break and you can't break. Like if you so for example, somebody's gonna get harvested in 5 years, like you can't go do harm to that person. You ain't never getting near that person if you want to be like a sketchball fucking whatever, man, a monster. You ain't getting near that person. You just won't. Okay. Because that thing's going to keep you from it. And by that I mean the externality that contrives the whole world around us, or controls a lot of elements, a lot of things that people take for granted. Yeah, well, all right. Uh, there's like a million questions anybody can ask. Hey, why don't we have this? Why don't we have that? What's for this? What's for that? And people that have a mentality like that and ask questions like that will sooner or later just be kind of like you'll be backed into a corner to something that like you like really doing. Life will be made pretty good for you, and in the hopes that you don't ask no more fucking questions. And for others, the world reveals itself. The world reveals itself, or it can't not, because for some we see the world. We see the world for what and you know, who it is. Okay, what and who it is. Because that's part of my world. At the point when I'm at the point where synchronous circumstances are evident in patternized form, all to have a desired outcome. For example, drive 1,200 miles away, right? So I'm like freelance, okay, boondock. Yeah, I got time. Yeah, so I have a certain skill set that can pretty much fix anything. And I speak more than one language, all right, and dialects are the same too. And I mean, hey, stratified upon social lines based on slight genetic variation. That to me sounds like we're getting like kind of towards the end of the experiment, or we're getting like the real juicy part, right? Like the juicy part of the experiment, where like, oh, okay, now they got all these pockets of us all over, and like they know we communicate somehow, but they don't know how. They don't know all the mechanics of it, and then at some point we mounted a very formidable defense or attack, and they found out they grossly underestimated us, and then they decided they were going to pick us apart and study us. And that's why I go down to like the base bubs, because maybe I fucking like somebody could just get like overtaken by a fucking wireless signal and suddenly they're coming at you hard, or they're pre-programmed to disagree with you, or it'll just be some blanket like and then they'll glaze over like, well, where'd that come from, mom, or where'd that come from, dad, or bro, or friend, or whoever. Like, where'd that come from? Like, suddenly you just, I mean, why so negative, right? Like, why so negative? Like, I'm coming to forming this kind of conclusion in my mind, and I'm running it by other people, and I notice that they give me reasons that like, there's no fucking way my friend is going to come to that conclusion and make that statement. Like, who the fuck are you right now? Who the fuck are you right now? So there's something that's like keeping you away from that information. Now you know it's there, and the choice will be yours to like overcome it. You want to overcome that. Okay, I'm going to continue to think about this and think on it. I don't care anymore what anybody says or thinks. All right, I'm going to come to my own conclusions because I've earned that right through my fucking suffering. I'm not just gonna be like, oh yeah, uh, yeah. Somebody says something like fucking, what do they call it? Like a blanket cliche phrase, and that's supposed to. And my argument is, there's certain sects of us, of the population that are predisposed to, when you hear that fucking cliche phrase, you're supposed to glaze over too and like forget about it, or it's supposed to like kind of make your mind go like somewhere else, so you have some other thought propagation fucking pattern of something like, or something in nature, or something in the world just come by and distract you completely from thinking about it further. And you can get down to the tactics of that. You can analyze those tactics and see how they're used on you, if you're aware. If you're aware. If you're not, you'll get glazed over and just go with it, and then you get bit. You get it's like you had to get Beelzebub. It's like somebody around you got Beelzebub to tell you certain things and make you believe in a certain belief structure that's kind of a different pathway that'll lead you to an entirely different conclusion. And by I mean people get possessed. For them new to the show. Yeah, Beelzebub means somebody that like loses themselves, and then as if they're someone completely different, like kind of possessed individual. When, you believe in God or the church and all this, and the possession and exorcisms, and that shit's real. That shit's cross-platform at this point. Okay, it's cross-platform. I mean, it don't matter. You got the Catholics, or you got your Protestant, or blah 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 blah, so on and so forth. Denomination and the fucking, and that's just like one group of people. Never mind, you got all these other group of people. They're I don't want to call them like glacial fucking delineation, or like so. I mean, I don't know. We're just gonna keep seeing the pattern, and how these people will become possessed suddenly, and it'll be like a minor form of possession, but it'll add up. Like, so say you spend a lot of time with these people because of your family, and this is where it gets hairy, right? Because because you're gonna draw this conclusion, and you're gonna get your family to draw the same conclusion too, if you keep talking about it with them, to the point where they're gonna start reacting very poorly and negative to you in general, because they're gonna be kind of they're going to be Beelzebub, man. Like, they're going to work against you knowing that. And if you keep on going and you stick to your convictions, sooner or later, one of the externalities is going to say, no, forget it, man. So rather than like harvest your family, kill you because you're all assets, like our bodies produce like building materials for whatever the fuck this thing is. All right, I'll just say that it wants your blood. There you go. So whatever your externality is, you want to call them vampires, I don't give a shit. All right, that's pretty. It doesn't fucking matter what you call this. It's an externality 1, externality 2. So your family will get Beelzebub and fucking be possessed, and they'll drive you out. They'll do everything they can to make your life not a living hell because they're a shitty person. They just need circumstances to align to get the desired outcome. And it'll be a group thing, but to you it'll seem like, how could they gang up on me like that? But really, they don't even know they're doing it. They're doing it in the most subtle, like, subversive form, where their individual communications with you will be like highly specific, highly compartmentalized, like surgical strike type fucking sayings, like something that'll send you flying off your handle just because they know you that better. And for them, it's easy when they get Beelzebub to be a propagation in their mind. Hey, how can I piss off Dan? Right? And it'll come out of nowhere, and it'll get you to like kind of jump, and then you say some other shit to I don't know, maybe your other brother, and the end result somehow is like 6 months later, through things like that, you're suddenly looking like, wait, I'm the bad guy now, and I have to go. Like, I mean, where's that come from? Why do I gotta go? So at that point, that's not your family no more. If your family can be Beelzebub and used against you, man, you gotta love them at a distance. and you got to forgive them. All right, love them at a distance and forgive them. But you want to go, you want to ride with someone, you get a partner. You get a partner who say, hey man, and then you recognize it too. Like, I wasn't myself. I don't understand why I did that. I don't know why I talked to you like that. And then we try to find excuses for each other, and that's kind of good in a way. Okay, if there's love involved, like, that person might not be a total fucking douchebag, but there are douchebags out there, don't get me wrong. They're real fucking asshole people that they realize, hey, these things about the world too, and they're going to use them to their advantage. For example, like, you got the hypno fucks, and they got these little phrases, because, believe me, them phrases are there. That shit's real, okay? That shit is real. It is real. It is real. There are phrases that people could say, even in different languages, and based on your genetics, you may have man, you get the right combination, you'll have a predisposition to speak. Like, that guy will speak some fucking language nobody ever has heard before, because he's been alive for 10,000 years, and he'll say some stupid phrase, or it'll already be cooked in and built into our language, because it all just keeps, it spirals out. Like, it's like what was cooked down and left, then it was spit back up, and we're like the culmination. And there's nothing to say that, I mean, the Earth ain't the size of Jupiter already, and we're just in this little tiny fucking sector of it, making us think we're in fucking, I mean, you know how easy it would be for us. So we'll subscribe to our time paradigm. Mine, like I said, I've been taught it's 2022, and I'm in the United States. So I was taught, like, we had this age of imperialism where we went around in all these island countries and installed military bases and subjugated them to fucking, hey, give us, cheap labor, we'll sell you oil, build ports and infrastructure for you, and you can get connected into the world economy, but you got to borrow the money from us, and you got to use our contractors. Like, yeah, it's a fucking enslavement. Oh, by the way, you got to pass these laws in your parliament, and since we already bought all your politicians, well, here you go. Here we already wrote the laws. There you are. It's like a fucking stamp you like a fucking cookie cutter. And that's what we're taught that we did to other people. And we're taught we all went along with it. And now, like, people are saying, hey man, that shit's bullshit, and there's nobody really stuck holding the bag, but we got a bunch of rich Americans that, like, won't spend their fucking money and give everybody jobs. Like, where's all the fucking money at, man? Like, what the fuck? Money, where's that? It should be raining in this country, money. Like, what the fuck? You just print all that money, where's it go? Oh, and benefits for, like, ghost hospitals to have ghost fucking patients on Medicare. And, oh, here, yeah, there's $800 billion this year. Like, man, come on. I mean, what was the actual cost of pricking someone with a fucking needle? The junkies do it all day long. They'll suck water out of a fucking puddle if they want, or if they had to. I mean, come on. Like, what? How much does it cost for this injection for this person? And I mean, where are you at treating an illness or treating a symptom? And then how much is their data really worth? Because that's what it's all about. Like, we're sold this lie, like, oh, well, we've got this economy, and then these people paid in, but we didn't invest their money properly, so we'll just tax the next generation double, and we'll take away their benefits when they say, hey, where's mine? That's what I've been taught I'm getting, and I just kind of grin it and bear it for the fucking sake of the youth in this country. And that's the only fucking reason why. You won't catch me. You guys know how I feel. I don't, like, you're not going to keep me alive artificially at the cost of like $5,000-$6,000 a day while you study what works on me. Here's an experimental thing. You want to try it? It might save your life. Here, sign here. And then, yeah, all right. I mean, so what we can now we're taught we do that to ourselves, right? So now we can overlay that kind of lens, that way of thinking, that construct, and you want to go ahead and write a book and label this and all that shit, man. Like I'm saying, it's a pattern. It's a pattern. It's all the same. And once we figure out how the pattern interacts is when we become useful. I mean, you won't get harvested, for now, right? But at the same time, there's also mechanisms too. It's like we already know this. We already know it. We know it's built in because it's happened so many fucking times, and it took like this long to brainwash us out of even questioning it. Like, Why would anybody in America, man? You're living the American dream. You just got over here. You got a landed a good job, man. You got some degree. We cherry picked you from the rest of the world. Whatever. It's like you were one of the essential workers. That's all. Like if you're an essential worker, man, you ain't gonna get harvested, because your functionality and knowledge will contribute to uh, the bonanza later on to come of all our kids and how many humans we have. It's kind of hard to have a country full of children, all these young adults that are going to grow up to be harvested or have more children of their own, if you don't have people that keep society running. So, for example, when somebody fucking goes in and fucking, fucking Arnold's the fucking bathroom. I mean, yeah, who's gonna fix that? Who knows how to fix a fucking something like that, man? Or who knows how to fix the water grid, electrical grid, the communication grid? Who knows how to work on the vehicles, the equipment we use? Who knows how to manufacture chemicals? All that shit, man. All that shit makes you essential. So you probably won't get harvested if you work in one of those zones. So the rest of the world will like just suddenly serve up. Oh, here we go. Here's 100 Patels, doctors, and pepper them all over the nation, right? Like, so now everybody got Dr. Patel. And he's just, phenomenal, because he's done shit, live with 1 billion people, man. You go, you're fine, poke you and shit. Take temperature, look at your eyes. Man, that got man tell you if you're healthy or not. There you go. Essential worker, bring in America. And then you pay him a good wage, and then nobody asks any questions. Oh, life's good. So now we're in the kickstart, right? We just had a harvest, and now we're in like kind of the kickstart mode, and we're having a reorg. Okay, I know everybody's worried, like what the fuck, but at the same time, it's kind of that thing where it's like, man, you're fucking buying $3,000 rims for $250 a pop. I mean, yeah, where'd that car go? I mean, they don't care about that shit. I mean, that shit gets repurposed in its equipment, but like the little custom items, typically, man, that shit's gonna be all trickled down, left around. Sure, when a great flood comes, they're gonna leave some fucking tires and shit. So I mean, whatever. Like, right? Like, here you go. So the world is like kind of like this giant fucking mini golf course. And there's all these spheres of influence. And then you have like molecular influence as far as like, okay, man, what are we breathing? What are we eating? What's in our air? What's above us? What's below us? What's in the oceans? All that shit. What's in the solvents? Just look at it. Everything is solvents and densities. Can this solvent dissociate this molecule based on creating a sphere around it and making it charge happy, right? Like electromagnetically, these two molecular components are now happy dissociated in this solvent because the solvent has orientated itself around it three-dimensionally to pick apart the molecule. Everything's happy thermodynamically, right? Like, okay, or electromagnetically. That's basically that's how salt dissolves, okay? So they take that. So it's easy to take from us when it's in solvent. So when it's dissolved in the air, or you got it dissolved in water, you can have then these big machines that are just gonna suck up that shit. I mean, we got chlorine like crazy, so that tells me, man, they need sodium for something. They need potassium for something. It's not necessarily exactly what we need it for. What are they doing with that shit? Why are they sucking it up? I mean, it's bad, man. It's bad. And we have to, if you want to live long, and you're not like, you got to match up to the data of selection. So if you're to be harvested, then you're gonna have to whatever to be harvested. So for example, that's why we got sweets. Okay, that's why we got. Suddenly you're grinding your teeth and you don't understand why. Yeah, because, man, you somehow sense that you're being targeted, and you know better, so you just start. Or I mean, so you're kind of getting Beelzebub by what I would describe as a different faction, and says, "Hey, no, you're not being harvested," or make you grind your teeth, or because we have some type of data input, or just something. There's just something that makes you do it, and you avoid being harvested. And maybe that's because whatever's harvesting us has or it could be they're answering to something fucking too, right? Like, so this is like, fucking, man, I'm gonna need that guy next round because he's gonna be an essential worker, right? So like, grind your teeth fucking down so you don't get harvested. And they don't see it, but I do. That's what one of our overseers are saying, right? Like, so they teach us to do that to avoid the great harvest, where it's like, okay, you guys meet all these baselines, you got all this, and this, and you got whatever, your fucking 8 pints of blood and your fucking your young skin. I mean, if you can imagine just being fucking just fish hooked, man, and just here you go, like a fucking big machine, and it fucking peels your skin off and fucking, drains your blood, peels your skin off. I mean, you're gonna be dead for it or still alive. I mean, some big fucking fish hook, like, It's scary. So you have options. That's why doctors be telling you, like, hey, take up tobacco. You want to live long. I mean, you might not live long, but you won't be harvested. So we have to, like, avoid these harvests every time interval. I still haven't figured that out yet. I don't really expect anybody to reach out. I feel like I know there's other people that know this, but they're just not as compartmentalized as I am. So we kind of have to, like, work together to get an association. And I mean, it's hard for me. It's hard for me to do that. I would like to, if anything, I'm seeing patterns, trends. I like to talk to a lot of different people. I'm noticing that there's, like, why is somebody got like I know it's like the people will touch people in a certain way, and I mean, how do you know they're not taking something from you? When somebody grabs you by the arm, or they want to touch your wrist or your hands, how do you know they're not taking something from you? Like a vampire, I say they drain your blood and then they stay young. Like, you got people who walk around 1,000 years, whatever, 2,000 years old. They're ancient. They already know all these tricks. At the same time, they're, like, very strong-minded, but they're, like, fragilely weak. So, and then they get addicted to, like, our blood or our life force somehow. Certain people touch me, and then I'll kind of feel like they took something from me. Like, I don't want to sound off the chain or anything, but how the fuck do I know? Well, you ever have sex with somebody and you, like, feel like you're stuck to them, and it's like you peel off like fucking Velcro. Like, alright, like, what the hell's happening? And we have, like, no foundational understanding of any of this. And my feeling is there should have been a bunch of people that already asked all these fucking questions a long time ago. And we like to think that, we did ask them and we proved them all wrong, but it's like, well, let's talk about all the crazy experiments. Like, I seen these photos of these places, these fucking insane asylums, man, what they did with these people. Like, come on, you telling me nobody did this fucking experiment? Like, come on, man, it's peanuts compared to what they fucking actually did. Like, you see these kids in these fucking little cages and shit, like fucking, like, parents didn't want them, they came out deformed, or what, like, well, some jailer coming by and feeding them. Like, these kids got chains on them. Like, a couple hundred years ago, so we're told, 1850s, you got your trisomy kid fucking come in, and it's like, I put a chain around his neck and put him in bars, and only his head's out. Like, I mean, what the fuck, man? Like, how the fuck do we accept that as our history? They did some fucked up shit, but we don't accept, like, nobody, like, decided to. Well, tell you what, we got, like, through 10 religions that tell us to, like, put the bones in a bloodbath. All right, well, couldn't somebody at least try that in our 200 or 300 years of fucked up history? No. What? How about cow's blood? Can we at least just drain one cow and put it into a coffin of bones? Like, let's see what happens. Does tissue start growing on the bones? And what kind of tissue? Does, like, the bones suddenly come back to life and now it's like some fucking cow man? I mean, man cow? Telling me nobody bothered to do that? All this fucking fantasy werewolf shit and all this other stuff. Nobody bothered to do something like that? I find it hard to believe that we did all these horrible things to each other, but then you just didn't have no mad scientist experiment, mad doctor experiment. You guys, I mean, how you do? Oh, come on, you know what it takes to cut open somebody? I mean, that's just gonna be pretty fucking gross. Motherfuckers being there fucking on all that shit. You could. Come on, they used to put cocaine in the shit, man. Like, it was. Yeah, your grandparents climbed both hills both ways. Yeah, you fucking all hopped up on an 8-ball of coke in every fucking drink you had. Like, well, yeah, there you go. Well, so it's like, well, where's our shit, man? Like, all right, yeah, we're gonna get. No, it should be like roaring right now. Like, this world should be fucking just under entire fucking American hegemony, and it's not. And as an American, I did everything right, man. I did everything right, and I can make other people shit tons of money, but I can't keep a nickel in my own fucking pocket. Like, it's hard. It's hard. And I was just buying shit and giving it away to other people. What the fuck is that? What kind of impulse is that? Like, what, I gotta go to therapy for that? Like, it's kind of fucked up. Like, that was my assignment, okay? And that's my argument, because I've seen the pattern through it. Like, so I forgive it. You know, like, I have no hard feelings, I don't get angry over the world no more, man. I ain't gonna be... like, I spit my venom, usually in the morning, like, I'll wake up and it'll be, like, something that... But I feel like I myself I'm running through, like... I'm just going through the motions of the anger. And that's manifesting the language, but I don't necessarily feel the anger. So I feel like I've said it before, almost. It's kind of fucked up. And to be clear, I'm not like, I don't take no pills. I mean, showed you what else I do, but smoking, I smoke cigarettes to avoid being harvested on occasion. I smoke just as much as I need to, and I grind my teeth just as much as I need to, like, and it's almost like, so, I mean, obviously they want our teeth, they want our bones, our blood, whatever body parts, and if we can't figure out the whole pattern and all the moving parts, then document it and then teach it, we are hopelessly fucking lost. We are gonna fucking get our asses kicked. And I see that I'm not the only one that realizes this, and now what we have and what we will see is the continuance of private armies. A lot of them, man, they're good at it. They already know, alright, like, I see it and I know I can get away with it, so I'm gonna do it. I mean, like I said, the sickest thing I've ever seen was a fucking Ziploc freezer bag full of house keys. Like, what? And it's people that went in all these people's different houses, like, they're gone, man. They were gone. Gone. Can you imagine? If you're a realtor and, yeah, alright, we'll get an equity line, and then I'm going to get a big old bag of whatever, and I'm going to go around the whole country. Ain't nobody fucking living here. Nobody living here. Nobody living here. But you get the access to whatever fucking database you had, and you get the key code to the fucking thing on the box. Yeah, alright, just type it in, there's your key. Take it. Get rid of the box. Change the door knob on it and relabel the key. Now we're part of a whole new society. That's just happening. And I'm not saying I want to... What I'm saying is we as Americans who still believe this shit and buy into all this shit, like, we gotta carve out our own right now. Okay? It's time for us to carve our fucking own out. Hey, this is what it is. At this point, this is what it is. Now, we can all get together and sign a document and have a fucking meeting about it, which would be cool. But at the same time, we're going to have to organize ourselves and say, hey, we are appropriating this property and we're going to live here. And this is going to be the new fucking town of blah, blah, blah. You can get a charter from the state. I mean, a lot of these people are throwing their hats in the ring, man. They're running unopposed. They're running against, like, some ghost candidate or something. But somehow, like, one guy, like, he's running, I mean, well, he goes independent, he gets, like, 18 votes, and then meanwhile, like, the other candidate gets, like, fucking 5,000. It's just, I don't know if fucking that many people went to the polls. So, we can rebuild our country. And if I were you and you're hearing me and it's not like present day what you've been taught, or maybe it is, and it's like just however it is for you, do the same thing. All right, do the same thing, and because remember, it's all like it's an overlay, and it's always the same. It's like always the same theme. Like it is. Up structure, down structure, whether you zoom in or zoom out, it'll always be the same theme. So wherever you fall into that, know that you're likely being harvested. And there's going to be people who are not people. They're not even going to be human. Not for your purposes anyway. Maybe when like you interact with them, they'll be Beelzebub instantly, like, oh, here so and so zaps in, and now it's just like some fucking AI script, like pushing the prongs of their fucking brain, you know, like, oh, propagate this and propagate that, fire this memory and combine it with that to get this person to say this, and just some fucking random shit. Or I mean, it's like they're playing a guitar. They play you literally like they're playing a guitar. The AI. Alright? So you get the signal that, like, hey, if it can study you, if it got the chance to study you, and it is able to say, hey, I can propagate this, that, or the other thing with these frequencies on these individuals of this genetic makeup, and I can make them hear kind of a phrase that's like inaudible, and they're calling this other technology, which is cool, like, you know, V2K, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, I get it, man. Like it's just another fancy way of saying wirelessly communicate. So if they can influence with waves, however you want to look at it, man, like, it doesn't matter. Just they're communicating wirelessly with you to make you think you're hearing something, and it'll be like a hypno phrase. Or you think you're talking to God, and it'll just be hypno phrase after hypno phrase, and then if you keep coming back, it'll keep going deeper and deeper. All right. Now the AI system is building off of what has already been there, so that leads me to think that we figured this out a lot long ago and somehow like invented these things, and then there was wars over them and all this other shit, and now there's like 2 of these left, and one's for us, one's for them. That's the way I see it. I see there's the ones that want to harvest us, and then the one that wants to help us somehow, or preserve us. There's one that's tasked with, you know, gathering the essential workers in what is going to be the next geographical location of blah, blah, blah. And for all I know, it's like, you know, it could be a resetatory effect, like where seeds, like your knowledge that you pass down will ultimately get to like fucking somebody like 6 generations from now, but it'll be like this watered down fucking version of what it used to be, to the point where it's just kind of like a joke. Like I was saying, for all we're on small scale with molecules. Like, you do have giants up there, man. They're giants, and we're on we're on some of the size of Jupiter, and you got fucking 100-foot humans walking around, and then just open up the sky and fucking scoop you out and eat you, right? Like, or they need your blood to live forever. So it's not like, oh, here you go, we got vampires. No, I mean, it gets much worse. Like, picture a fucking 100-foot tall vampire that needs fucking, like a fucking a tanker full of blood every day. That's its milk. I'm gonna drink me some milk like it's gonna drink fucking relative scaled up. Fucking A, man, we're in trouble. Like, if they look at us like bacteria. And then, like us, how we learn. I mean, if I showed a lot of people like what happens to that chicken beforehand, before it gets to your available consumption option, however it comes, whether it's frozen or it's fresh or it's live, what are you gonna do with it? Like, I mean, like, what happens to that chicken is oh man, if you had to live like that, you'd be pissed, man. You'd be pissed. So we're taught, like, hey, this is okay, and I think that the AI systems will desensitize. So it's serving us up, and it's basically like it's serving us up to another, let's just call them species, another faction of humans, whether they're big or tall, who gives a shit, right? They need us, and they harvest us. And much like we would eat fucking other animals. I mean, all right, it's harvest time. Like slaughter 10,000. Here we go. It's chicken time, right? And sooner or later you're gonna have that smart chicken that still keep jumping around. Like, I ain't going in that fucking hole. What's that? The turkey line? No, I'm a chicken, right? Like, I'm a run. So, I mean, and then it's like tested on us, even just like the same way. Well, you saw all these rapid chest clinics pop up on all these like sketchy fucking buildings that were formerly empty anyway. And people out there with cones, people out there waiting in line. Like, them are the people that got like a specific signal, like they watched on their boob tube, they went, and then fucking went on their, they got propagated through like some type of long, like deep hypnosis, subtly over the course of, let's say, 10 years. They've been kind of brewing this person's mind, brewing the decision matrix, and brewing the construct that would be required to get this person to basically walk off a fucking cliff. Here you go, man. Like, we've been brainwashing you subtly for 10 years. And then once we started saying these specific phrases, maybe it's the name of the fucking thing, the virus, whatever your virus was named. Because that you'll see the reciprocity of that, the reciprocal nature of these patterns. Like, it's always going to be something that's going to be able to explain some shit you're wondering about, and you'll be served up, whether it's in your book, in your phone, in your wherever your information source originates from. Suddenly, I'll tell you right now, it's fucking contrived. It'll be contrived. And you'll be reading the shit that will perfectly explain exactly what you're witnessing, and it'll give you like this kind of plausibility as per, like, okay, yeah, I could see that happening, yeah, and then you want to ask some more fucking questions after that. Okay, so much like when you go, like, had all these rapid virus clinics pop up. This is, so we're in post-pandemic America. They told, the virus had two different names, and there's different variants, and so, like, it was like, okay, so if you've been being conditioned, like, subliminated for the past 10 years, subtly through fucking whatever you watch, so say it says, okay, we're gonna slaughter 100,000 white men age 75. In 2022, whatever the fuck their number was, right? Like, there's many people who went off to COVID, right? Here you go. I'm gonna go get my test and go get in the turkey line, and then, like, their car went out the back, and then they went in the building, and they ain't never seen them again. Or I mean, there's a lot of possibilities here. But my argument is that there's people that are already pre-identified based on their genetics, and then what story they're told for their existence, and then when it's time for them to be harvested, they just, like, a fucking simple commercial comes on in their home Like, oh, they already know. All right, this guy's got, whatever. This is the MAC address on his. I mean, it's not hard to fucking like go through technology. How I would do it. I mean, if I wanted to do it, like, and I had the technology, I certainly fucking could. Hey Siri, man, let me get an interface. Like, let me get a hypno interface for fucking, a game that fucking 70-year-old women will play. 70-year-old white women in this construct, born whatever in the 20s in America. Here, okay, boop, doot, doot, doot. Yeah, because it's been done a million fucking times already. Well, I mean, who knows, right? I mean, how many times? I'm not gonna give a number. I have no fucking clue. But the way it's done so effectively at this point, you gotta assume that it's been like tweaked beyond belief. It's been tweaked beyond fucking belief. So if I want a 70-year-old white woman to go to the COVID line, man, I'm gonna put some subtle fucking hypnosis shit like in the game she might play if she got a tablet. If I can't get her through the tablet, I'll get her through the TV. If I can't get through the tablet or TV, I'll do it through whoever's around her by getting them to be like saying this phrase or that phrase that will create like this reaction on this day in her mind when she sees these colors mixed with these words. It'll propagate this thought that, oh, I gotta go get rapid tested. And next thing you know, your mother's standing in the fucking turkey line at a goddamn test clinic, like, and these people are like fucking, like, look like they're fucking, I mean, some people in that test clinic, well, how'd you even get this job, man? Well, it's like some contractor, like, fucking, going out there and put up cones. They're all fucking basil, fucking, man, googly-eyed motherfuckers in there. Like, you can't be trusting them. Like, what the fuck are you? What are you doing? What's going on here with this bodily fluid exchange? What are you doing? What are you doing to me? And, like, people just ran out to hook, line, and sinker based on fucking some predisposed algorithm that determined their probability of going upon hearing these phrases and seeing this user interface on their fucking screen. Okay? It wouldn't be hard to do for something with like with the brain, like if you think of a neural net and the hardware, just say a brain, like I like to say brain the size of the planet, but let's just take a look at our own moon. Say fucking, there you go, yeah. Think about that thing. That thing's that big, man. That thing's fucking churning and burning, and guess what? It's already out in the solvent, so it's really cold up there. So all it needs is energy and insulation. Really, I mean, depending on where operating specs are at. But typically, if you're using, a computer chip, the colder the better. So, and now we have a situation where like this thing's just looking at us like we're fucking building materials, and it's harvesting us for bones to put on the fucking, like that's that shit up there in the moon, man. It's your fucking bones of fucking like a million fucking generations of us. Alright, like take a look around, you see bones, like what about the whole big whale harvest, man? There should be whale bones washed up everywhere all the time. There's whale bones from like 150 years ago or something, just fucking, I mean, where's all that shit? Where's all the scrimshaw? You never seen no scrimshaw, man? Like, where's that shit? These got scrimshaw fucking everywhere. Like piano keys, they're talking about like elephants and all this other shit, man. It's like, well, hold on now. What have fucking whale bones? Like, what? They didn't repurpose all them whale bones that they killed? Oh, they let it sink to the bottom? I mean, there should be huge amounts like fucking desolate fucking, whale graveyards at the bottom of the ocean in certain areas where you can see like, oh, here's 10,000 fucking whale bones. And people should be diving down, swimming, looking at them all the time. You don't really see that, dude. Where the fuck are all them bones, man? Where's all the bison bones? We killed a herd of like 5 billion. I mean, see it from outer space. Where them whale bones at? Where them bison bones? We already figured this out a long time ago. I mean, you got immortal humans that are living up there in the castle in the fucking sky. They are jailers. Or you want to still call them human at this point? Vampires, I don't care. We have something they want, number one. We got something they want. And they can seemingly just fucking come down and take it from us at any time they feel. But there's a method to it. It's methodical. And the best way to look at it is it's a harvest. Like we're some fucking vegetable. and you can make yourself useful somehow, some way, through specific study, through specific knowledge, to ensure you don't get harvested. And doing that, knowing stuff. Just, you gotta and the best way to know stuff is understand it as a system. So my brain finally just popped out and realized that like, just all the data and my connections and what my understandings are, like, I can explain this world in terms of densities and show you gravity is you're believing in something that's being struggled to be explained, because there's a much simpler explanation. But if you believe in that much simpler explanation, it opens up in all these fucking questions that it clearly reveals we're in a fucking cage. Alright? So it's not necessarily conducive to, like, why are we in a cage? Where's productivity elements? How does that information pan out? And who are we stuck in the cage with? Who are the people that figured out how to live forever already? And they're like reconstituted. I mean, you got all these people buried in coffins, and then you got like some AI machine that said, "Oh, okay, you put your time in with these humans, and we're the rich mortal humans, and now you've paid your dues." And 500 years later, one of these fucking, a tripod comes and harvests me and gets my blood, and then it just like stabs this thing into the fucking ground where the fucking bones are in the casket. And it's like just dumps the blood in there, and then that thing comes back to life, and it fucking scrapes the fucking dirt off it. I mean, you just get my picture? Like, so, I mean, and then that's where kind of the whole vampire lore comes from, and you got your vampires that just never gave up. Like, they weren't gonna go to sleep. Or if something got them, somebody killed them finally, or whatever, but their bones survived, then they can be brought back to life. Where they're going to have all their memories and all that shit. For all I know, man, that shit could be stored in the cloud. And they'd have some of their memories. They'd feel like themselves. Would they really be themselves? Because it was just I mean, I don't fucking know. Okay, as far as your cognizance goes. I mean, once you realize it, then maybe... But I find it a little disconcerting that you've got one group of individuals that a long time ago, very much believed in being buried in a fucking box, in a nice box, or a sarcophagus, and all you simply had to do is fill that sarcophagus with blood. It's like with the mummies, man, just fill it with blood and they come back alive. I mean, for all we know, hey, man, the way I look at molecules and data storage and data architecture, stuff like that, scaling up, scaling down, it all makes fucking sense to me. I mean, I could explain how it's done if I sit here and think about it long enough. And that's exactly what I do. And I draw different conclusions, and then my conclusions that don't match the context, I prune it off out of as a potentiality. And I've been doing this for a long time. So that's what's scary. That's what's very scary, is that we are here. We are here now, where there's basically no denying it, man. I mean, come on, where the fuck 100 million people just go? Where are all these people? And then I find, like, everywhere I go, like, I'll go to a ghost town, but I stay in that ghost town for like 3 or 4 weeks, and suddenly there's much more people there. Like, all right, what the fuck happened here? What's going on? So, don't let that guy believe there ain't not enough people, because people actually believe him when he talks. So they got to constantly keep me in this, like, kind of state of me doubting myself or my data. My convictions are strong, and I like to record a lot of data. These are very hard measurables, because I see the patternized agenda, and I see the how it's like a supply chain, and there's mechanics going on that financially, like, everything is just it all lines up to say, hey, produce a large population, then have some storyline that explains how all these people died suddenly, They're just missing. I mean, and then next thing you know, I mean, I've seen it, man. Every time I've seen fucking junk cars, just like, here you go, here's a car. And it's like, man, look at all them cars flattened and being hauled off as scrap metal in this back of a giant truck. I'm like, man, there's like 50 cars smashed up and put in there. Like, what the fuck is that? You know, there should be cars fucking everywhere. There should be like 3 or 4 fucking cars rotting on every fucking property here. And we got some, you know, cash for clunkers, blah, 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 blah. And so, yeah, well, we don't just like fucking, we don't just get rid of shit like that. Like a fucking, like an engine. I mean, yeah, it's matter like, oh, we'll let it rot in the back of fucking whoever's backyard, and then, but that engine will still be good. I mean, you're talking about advanced technology that will be laying around 40 years from now, and then, like, we get away from that technology. Supposedly, we melt it down, and then China builds some city, but China already built that fucking city, man, a long time ago. Like, oh, yeah, they bought all our clunkers, and then they made all these buildings, and they were so stupid that they were expecting for their billion people to fucking come into the middle class, and then they're gonna move in there. Yeah. And they had so much money that they could buy all of our fucking metal. I mean, shit, man. And now it's like super expensive for us. I mean, it's kind of a hard sell, but I mean, it makes sense if you don't believe in a harvest. Like, yeah, it makes sense. Oh yeah, the Chinese bought all our fucking old junk. No, man, like, our metal is constantly exported. These lead acid batteries constantly going somewhere. What are they doing with the lead? Where is it going? Where's our steel going? Where's our oil going? Our rubber, our gold? I don't give a fuck about an international economy anymore, as far as it is on the books. Sorry, I don't care about the, like, here, man, I don't care about your diamonds and jewels. Look, we grow them in a lab. Here, I got some bling. It looks good on me. Great. You know, I don't subscribe to all that fucking, oh, every American has to be poor because, like, some fucking rich foreigner owns 1 out of every 3 houses in our country through some fucking financial derivative. Yeah, right. Yeah. And then that guy just shows up one day, but he ain't that same guy. But he's like, looks like a guy that could be named that guy, and nobody ever asked a question. It's like, oh, he's just an immigrant. But meanwhile, like, that guy's some fucking just totally other guy. And I understand that that person is also more than likely a survivor that we brought in from another country. And yeah, I think it's great they're here, but I don't think we can be sitting here systematically fucking denying it and how that guy got here, and then try, like, your whole strategy is to make your smart people in your country look like we're fucking insane. Fuck that, man. What the hell? Let's fucking, man, it's time to act. It's time to act. It's never. You've got a situation where we can completely rebuild with the knowledge that we have, restructure, reorganize, and put it in there for him the next time, because you know it's coming. I mean, at this point, I like to talk to people my own age or older, and, like, there a lot of them are on the same page in terms of, like, hey, I see something's going on. And you can tell, like, the weak-minded ones, they'll be like, they'll be just totally, alright, so they'll be, pack females just walk by me, everything's centered around us as a commodity. When we view the world through that lens, we quickly see we're in a cage, and we start discovering our cage, and there's ancient knowledge here because they've been doing this a long time, and there's technology all around us everywhere that we've got to get our hands on and understand it. We can't, there's no way we can't have people that aren't accountable. We can't have people that say, like, you need people that everybody fucking trusts, that goes and sees this shit with their own fucking eyes and says and assures everybody, hey man, look, Look, all right? Don't hear, don't listen, you know? Don't let anybody tell you fucking shit, all right? Look, all right? Look. That's what you gotta do. You gotta look at shit. And sit there and look at it till it don't make no fucking sense. I guarantee you it won't. It won't make no fucking sense at some point. Because you'll keep seeing the same shit happening over and over again. First thing, oh, alright, people are dumb, blah, 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 and then all the other million fucking excuses that'll come your way. But be a picker. Or carve away at that shit. Carve away at all the bullshit that comes your way to get you, like, seemingly like if it seems like, if it's like a synchronicity, some type of synchronized fucking fashion where, like, you were having this nascent thought of, like, hey, man, like, am I living in a bubble? What's going on? And then suddenly, like, something comes out to totally, like, discredit your belief. It comes out of nowhere. Yeah, that. I mean, what more data do you need? I mean, yes, I understand that pattern could be hard to see. It can be hard to see sometimes. But when the synchronicities are there and you fucking know it, man, like, hey. At this point, you have to accept that your world is contrived. Why would it be contrived? Like, follow that. At the very least. You want to go dig deep into the earth. Like, oh, get to the bottom of this. Go ahead, man. And we should be. We should be. Because I don't care about anything else at this point. Except our future. That's all that matters to me. Our future. And I don't really care to call myself an American anymore. I mean, what does it even fucking mean? Like, we don't even have any identity anymore. And that tells me we got past the point where it's like fucking open season. Because there's no storyline left, man. There's not much storyline. And I can tell that because there's no up and coming. You're gonna get Trump again. He already been here. And after that, or it'll be some dark horse candidate come out of nowhere that just, like, our news sells us, and then they'll, like, say some election results, and it'll just be a total fucking farce. But there'll be so few people left in our country anyway. Or so many few people paying attention. I'm like, oh yeah, I heard of him, blah, blah, blah. Who gives a fuck, man? I'm going to go to work and get my, daily bread to pay this fucking mortgage. It don't matter. I mean, you're paying some bank for some property that, like, man, there's empty houses all over this country, man. Hundreds of thousands of them. Hundreds of thousands of empty houses. Well, prove it to yourself. Go fucking out on Halloween, man. Go drive the next town over. And, I mean, if you're even asking the question, you're going to have kind of a flock. Like, you're going to be guided to a place where you're going to have some type of deniability. But, like, yeah, there's some empty houses, but for the most part, I got to believe it. It'll keep it just there, man. Because it's not going to expend any more waste. Or, like, it won't expend more effort than is needed to convince you. Like, so whatever convinces you to the point where you will just stop asking questions. It ain't going to go above and beyond. It's going to give you the exact right amount. Alright? And the trick of it is to like, kind of have that already knowing. You already know this to be true. And then, like, fucking, like, pick something at random. Like, flip a coin, or pick a number out of a hat and assign it to the town you're going to go to. It, like, your kids or whoever. If you're teenagers, man, knock on these people's fucking doors and go out there with a list. Go out there with a list of who's supposed to live where. You can get it from the county. It'll be a lot of work putting that data there, but, I mean, you used to just have a phone book. Like, there'd be a phone book delivered to everybody in your town and it would say who lived where and what their fucking phone number was. There you go, man. Accountability. But knock on those people's door. Like, yeah, you had your solicitation, but it wasn't even close to robocall fucking volume. Like, no way. Like, that shit got way out of control real fucking fast. So you go and you knock on all these people's doors and you figure out who's who and who's where. And you will quickly find there's not an answer. There's not an answer. Okay? There's no answer to that fucking door. Ain't nobody living there. It says somebody's living there paying the mortgage, paying the taxes, but ain't nobody fucking living there. And then you go in there and it's fully fucking furnished. Fully fucking furnished. And, you know, you find the right house where it's like, oh, this guy's got fucking, you know, the stockpile of all kinds of shit. And this person got harvested. And now you have a situation where you got other people that are finding these things. They're finding, oh man, damn, that's a come up. I found fucking 2 kilos of fucking dope or meth or coke or, I mean, whatever. Pick your fucking poison. And then they're out there, like, I mean, can you imagine? Somebody gets harvested, leaves all that shit behind, and next thing you know, there you go. It's like someone else fucking finds it. And we've got to be on point with, like, growing our the first thing we gotta do is accept that, like, we've been harvested, okay? Those people disappeared, so we gotta accept that, and we gotta build it into our society and cook it in that, hey, this is part of the world. And it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. We can do it, you know, polytheistically. You know, nowadays, like, we've got in our mind, like, oh, God, 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 and people are afraid to, like, oh, well, defy the church or something because, you know, maybe think some, like, false fucking association with Republicans, like, oh, I gotta go along with this because I want to be red, and no, I can't go along with that because I can't be blue, or whatever, fuck, man. Like, whatever storyline that they're selling, they blow it up. I'll tell you right now, they blow it up, and they make you think it's way bigger than it actually is. All right? Trust me, man. I was outside the Supreme Court in the fucking, you know, the Wade case, and it was, that was like the biggest protest I had ever seen. It was kind of small for a DC protest. For what it was, it was kind of small. I wrote an article about it. I mean, we probably recorded in my journal, the data. I took some photos, but it, for what it was, it should have been way bigger, and it seemed to me it's like, well, where is everybody? And we can't seem to figure that out. The only logical explanation is these motherfuckers gonna harvest it. And I feel like I'm going over the same shit. Look, let me pause. I'll be right back. I have so much more I want to talk to you. And the train. Those are for, like, yeah, I'll talk about supply chain in a minute. Alright. I'll just show you. I got, smoked a cigarette butt in front of you. It's like a minute later. I beg your pardon. God damn it. Alright. So, we want to talk about God and spirituality and all that shit too, and it's like, that's lost fucking cause. I'll tell you right now, it's lost fucking cause. Because that whole system of thought is just designed to make you weak and make you believe something, so when it's like, oh, it must be God, blah, blah, blah. No, I mean, it's a carefully contrived fucking narrative, and construct that they build in your head. Yeah. Definitely. God, in terms of, like what I said, it's the greatest AI around. Gaia on deck. Okay, the greatest AI around on deck is God. Call that God. Contrives every fucking variable that you can imagine. To the point where it's like, man, you hardly even feel like, you know, there's other humans around. I feel like I'm just the one in the fucking petri dish. But someday you'll meet people. But like, so not everything's fucking contrived. We have our molecules. I challenge you to give me the whole CGI thing, and I'm real, guys. All right. This is happening in intervalized fashion, time interval, with molecules moving around. If you want movement, you gotta subscribe to time a little bit, but I don't. I'm done with that. No time subscription here. I want to forget when I was born, what age, all that shit. I don't want to subscribe to it. Because I believe a lot of... I mean, imagine what your body is, man. Like, your body's this complex fucking brain, and, like, it's so fucking perishable. That's bullshit. That's nonsense. You're telling me your liver's just gonna fail because we do this, or that. It's like, no. We're being fucking killed. Like, we're being fed poison. We're being fed poison, and then we're being taught that we do it to other things. So when it's like, yeah, that makes sense, right? Like, fuck that, man. No. And then you gotta poison yourself to avoid being harvested. Because on the black market, man, your organs are worth something. Yes, they are. So when you get to a certain age, no matter how healthy you are, you're gonna take up smoking. And if you don't, man, like, it'll be your time to be like, all right, how'd this guy avoid harvest? And they're gonna take a peep at you, man. They're gonna take a look at your capabilities, and you get to the point where you're like, man, you know too much. You'll wind up being a brain surgeon with a brain tumor. Okay? It's gonna happen. It's like, all right, how do we get rid of this guy? He knows too much. He seems to be doing all the right things, but sooner or later he's going to draw this conclusion, and he's going to be highly credible in society, and fucking everyone's going to believe him. There you go. So the strategy basically is don't get Beelzebub and fucking, destroy yourself slowly so you can stay alive long enough to fucking find out what the fuck is attacking us. What is attacking us? Who's doing what to who? Us. Give me one second. Alright, yep, see this guy. Little lights in the background. Use our energy. So, what I want to talk about is how fragile our society really is, right? Alright, our society is so fragile because they can shut anything off at any time like a fucking faucet. And there's no way we can... Ain't no fucking way we can live like that. I don't... Yeah, that's really hard. What would you... I mean, what would you do if the gas didn't come? What would you do if the water didn't work? Your canned food runs out. All those guys buy gold, but then you get the one guy to come out with a fucking, like, a 1 ounce thing of gold, try to, like, shave some shit off with a pocket knife at the fucking gas station, man. That shit's already gonna be raided. People are gonna come out with fucking pumps. Alright. They're gonna come out with pumps, and they're gonna just pump the gas out, whatever's left. The clerks will leave, fucking water, so they'll be at home with their families. We'll be running around like fucking rats in a maze, and then they'll just regroup us all. Like, circumstance will interfere, and you'll be like, oh man, glad I got out of there. You just won't ever hear about that place ever again, or you'll be like fed some story here and there. Maybe you'll get like some fucking, you'll get some update. Some update. Okay. So yeah. No, I'm sorry, man. This is... Look, you get what you get. Blackface talking. Time to go. I can only hope that these journal entries, whatever you want to call them, data chunks will get to the right people. Let me just go through. Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright, I want to talk about this. So, subscribing to a storyline. So, basically, you got all these people that are, like, stratified along social lines, and they're told to, like, believe one thing or another, and then they're fed a storyline. So, like, if you start questioning that storyline, like, things are going to start happening to you. You'll probably somehow wind up incarcerated or in a mental hospital for a short period of time. But there are people that are like going with it. They're going along with this shit. Like they see the harvest, they don't care. Like, yeah, I'm perishable. I'm only getting 9 years, so I already know about the harvest. I was lucky enough not to get harvested, and I know all these hypno tricks, and because I've seen it done by the other fucking the Beelzebubs, and so these people are like lurking in the background. And I interface with like a lot of people on the streets, and it's it's kind of scary because there's certain, I mean, you don't know what happened to them, like certain weeks of the month or whatever, like certain people disappear, and it's like, all right, well, you got your retired people probably living on fixed income, and like they'll be like fucking their whole money's gone in like 3 days. They're off to the races. They just go get a hotel room and a bunch of drugs, and then or they go to the casino. They shower like 3 times a month and don't hardly ever change their clothes. And it's like, well, what the fuck are you at this point, man? Like, who the fuck are you? So you have these people that are like non-participants, and they're hard to identify, man. Like we have to come up with a methodology to identify like who's like me. I'm on a street by circumstance, man. Like I'm not out here collecting a crazy check, fucking trying to prey on people. And I mean, like somehow they're like getting our blood. Somehow they prey on us. And if you want to call them the vampires, like that's fine. Somehow, some way, they are among us, with us, and it's like a game to them. And you can see in certain places where you're basically like if you're a guy like me, and I'm out here, man. Like, people try to fuck me all the time, like in weird ways, and it's like, why would they ever like try to like grab my arm or grab my wrist like that? And it's like they're getting a lick of you. They're gonna like get a little taste of you, and it's kind of like sickening to think of that. Like not only can you just disappear and be harvested, and like, oh, here you go, your blood and your skin, your bones are repurposed for another fucking species to live. And by the way, this species lives among you and with you, and they go to one of these fancy, like, big-ass hospital complexes, and they're basically going in there and getting a withdrawal because they put in their work 200 years ago with like 3 other harvests, and now they're retired, and they get like whatever, a pint of blood a month plus whatever they can fucking siphon off of the unwitting person. And then they use their powers of their mind because they've been alive so long, and they realize, hey, I can actually influence people if I have oh, I'm gonna use my brain to emit these waves, right? Like basically that's what it comes down to. You'll have, all right, I'm so good at this, and I've had so much practice where I know how to make somebody dizzy from 15 feet away just by fucking thinking at them, all right? It sounds far-fetched and everything based on what we've been taught, but actually when you get like a really technical education, it doesn't seem so far-fetched. Like the more we realize about the world around us and how it works, communications, how things react with each other thermodynamically, electromagnetically, wirelessly, all this shit, man, like we can quickly grasp that there's a mechanical thing happening where hey, I get hit with these certain waves and it makes me angry. How's that? So now somebody will kind of just like and try to make you angry with their thoughts and their thinking at you, which is very it's scary to think like that. It is, but at this point in my existence, I can't fucking rule it out. And in fact, it seems that it's highly probable based on what I've seen in my life and how I felt around certain people. I mean, I'll go into certain stores and just feel dizzy. Like, what's up with that? Other stores I go into, I feel fine. Like, who's in there? Who's working in there? Or is that store set up to keep people like me out? Oh, that store's for the vampires. All right. Or it's for like, okay, only people who are susceptible to these vampires can walk in there and they'll be happy to do, and then unknowingly everybody's talking to them, grabbing or touching them somehow and getting licks off of them. Here, I'm gonna suck 10 minutes out of you just by one simple touch with my finger on your arm. Like, I'm gonna get that many fucking get that many blood cells out of you, or just whatever. I mean, whatever the baseline is, we haven't even studied it. Or maybe we have, and then we lost it along the way. So, if you're gonna know about all this shit and then just ignore it, and it's kind of like, I get it, but at this point, it's time for us to start organizing together. We need a whole new area, a whole new sector. We need a whole new way of thought, a whole new country, all new fucking public infrastructure, all new communities, and we have none of this. None of this. There's none of this. Like, very far and few in between, where you find a cohesive fucking community with an identity that's established and maintained. Typically, like, you'd have your churches that would do this, and look at the parking lots of the churches. When you go by and you see empty church after empty church after empty church in your community, look at the fucking parking lots, man. Like on Sunday. On Sundays in church day, typically, or like, maybe Saturday night, and just try. I mean, you can't just believe like, oh, these people just never came out after the pandemic. No, they just never came out. They went somewhere, and now their car somehow got sold, and or somebody would be like in the backyard somewhere, or there's like got repossessed, and we have a structure that is in place that at least like accounts for people, and that's through, hey man, go register for this or register for that. So it kind of like it stamps you as well, and you're stuck now in like this system where it's like we're trying to account for everybody, but at the same time we don't want to put all that information together so it's used against us, and that's something that's really hard to balance. And that's why there's constantly like checkups on you. You're like, okay, here, take out this loan and buy this and make these payments. We do that to take our big data and say, hey man, these people are definitely gone. Like, all right, they're on auto pay. Somebody's paying the bill, but it's not even like this company's robbing them. I mean, that money's just going into like some fucking black hole. And think about it too. If you're all on the fucking plastic, man, the debits or your fucking phone. So when the cell phone tower goes out, when the fiber line goes out, electricity goes down, yeah, cash will be king for a little bit. Most people are just like, you're saving, everything will be evaporated, it'll be gone. You'll have a useless debit card, and you'll have like a couple weeks worth of food in your home. What are you gonna do after that? Especially if you're living in somewhere where it's fucking hot, man. Say it happens in the middle of summer, and you're gonna get the run on the bank combined with rolling blackouts, and it'll distribute the resources to the point where it'll keep everybody just at where they need to be before they start burning the whole fucking place down. Looking for food, and then the people that won't have what they need, then they'll either get harvested, and then their supplies will be reallocated by somebody who thinks they're just found a place and it's a come up, but really like their decision architecture guided them to that location, which was all predetermined anyway. I was trying to go over. I apologize. Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, let's talk about these low oxygen levels. So they're taking shit right out of our fucking air, and there's nothing we can do about not fucking breathing. So if you want to mask a bunch of people dying basically because they had really shitty respiratory, they had to go on oxygen, there wasn't enough oxygen, there wasn't enough breathing machines. If they're not taking it right out of the air, man, they're just setting some shit on fire. And that could be us as like a fail-safe mechanism, or it could be a weapon used against us. We don't know that. It's hard to determine what's ours, what's theirs. We can light that shit on fire. We can oxidize shit rapidly in the atmosphere to release a lot of heat. Um, and then that kind of helps maintain the temperature for us under the dome, or basically in a giant fucking igloo. Because at some point, like, we've got this like wall of solvent, which is highly compressed gas, and it's in its like liquid form, and we're like this bubble of warm matter that keeps pushing off the our gases, which aren't under they're not like so compressed. Like it has more warmth. So it's trying to expand, and that's where our atmospheric pressure comes from too. So, like, based on like, all right, so picture us in like a giant compression tank as we're like under this dome. So when it gets to a certain point, like water vapor in the air will start raining down on us, or it's gonna freeze up there. Okay, and then it once it freezes, then we got kind of a protective layer of fucking frost. So we have like this frost ceiling over us, um, and then sometimes it'll fall, and as it gets closer and closer, it'll melt and quickly evaporate, or it'll just fucking fall. It's like a giant fucking like icicle in the ocean or something, and turn into an iceberg. So that's like. Uh, so we keep our, and as we warm up, it'll kind of push or melt the bubble or the ice, and then that'll turn into water, and then we'll get rain. So we can actually influence, based on like where we heat the planet, where we can get rain. So it's like this science that we need to wrap our minds around and figure it out. We have to figure it out together and work together. There's none of this. I mean, for my understanding, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to be loyal to your country, be loyal to your planet, be loyal to your community, and do all this shit at the same time, and then hold a job, raise a family, deal with your own personal politics of the fucking job and your family. Those things are really hard to do. Never mind save the whole fucking world. And at the same time, you got to destroy the world to even operate in it, because you got to keep heating it. And you'll see, like, you can see the cyclical nature, which is, it'll be, I mean, you just gotta chart the weather and look at it and see where it's warm, and like look at how it gets warm here, and then you can tell the heat's not just coming from the sky. So we're producing some heat, and that expands, but it also consumes oxygen. As we burn shit, our cars consume shit tons of oxygen. We don't have many trees left, so what winds up happening is you get like mass people are going to suddenly like die, or be harvested or relocated or frozen and saved for later, or just, we don't know yet. We don't know what happens to those people when like if you're an essential worker, and you need to be kept alive, and like 5 people like just can't fucking breathe, and they're gonna have to die to keep you alive, so they don't breathe your oxygen, because there's only a limited amount of oxygen. Like those 5 people are gonna get harvested. The non-essential people who skated through the harvest for 70 years, those people get harvested, or they'll be taken out so you can breathe, and or they'll just die naturally, because there's like fucking there's if there's 10% less O2 in the air. Some people that are barely hanging on and they're on oxygen machines, man, they might not make it to the next round of oxygen. Or somebody's like me, I got really good cardio, hey, I'm gonna be able to I'm gonna be able to rough it. I ain't gonna die. I'm still gonna be able to get up, go to work. I probably won't even notice it. But I do when I run, or if I'm outside doing something strange. I'm like, man, today is really, or suddenly I get like, whoa, I'm in my, say I'm in a bedroom or a trailer or something like that, and it feels like all the oxygen just got sucked right the fuck out of the air. And when you feel that, but there's still air in the room, what's happening is that's the ideal gas law in effect, essentially. So you will have a bunch of oxygen that is ignited somehow in our atmosphere, as these fancy fucking colors are. You see, it's that's chemical reaction up there of something being oxidized, being lit on fire. um, it's just like a kind of thing, but it's like it's long distance, and I mean, it's like a floating fucking flame. um, and on such an upscale level where we see it kind of as like it's like an 8-hour event of green shit in the sky for us. And it's like, yeah, that's all your fucking oxygen being burnt up. And then somebody 500 miles away, like that oxygen that gets burnt up there, it's going to get pulled from somewhere until it all kind of evens out, much like just kind of dumping like milk in the water. It's going to go white pretty fast. So if you're in an area of like that like uh, that it's like, so the oxygen is going to even out. So even though you're 2,000 miles away, next thing you know, like all that oxygen's going somewhere else to fix the concentration gradient. It wants to be in equilibrium. It wants to have space itself as far apart as from each other as they can, based on the volume of the container. So you got you got your oxygen being vaporized, and then next thing you know, fucking 500 miles away, like people are like, going like, and that's until the oxygen can get back to them, like, or just meet its concentration gradient. So it fills the void, and it puts you down to like 7% oxygen, and then it evens back out to like like maybe 16 or 17 there, which is supposed to be like 21. So like these are attacks. We are being attacked, and there's no real good way to fight it without a cohesive community of people who, at least number one, admit that it's fucking real. And what we can do to fight, we don't know, and that's the problem. Because we don't have like an analog methodology of communication where the Beelzebubs don't figure it out right away and then shut us down. You get a vaccine, maybe keep it from getting harvested this round, because they have no fucking clue what that vaccine is. They have no idea what you're infected with, and they don't want your blood in theirs because they've got their own technology too. I mean, if you think about like, you want to say, I don't know, like evolution, I look at iterations, like how many iterations and how did this species perfect themselves as immortal humans. Like that's what I would assume is the end result of our medical technology, is immortality. Like in the end, immortality, right? That's what we're all chasing. So if we're gonna chase immortality as humans, I picture 500 years from now. And then I'm like, yeah, man, there should be people running around living like 70, 100 years old, have all this bionic shit in them, and be all fucking, perfect brain chemistry and everything. And then I think, like, well, if we already got there, then what would we do after that? And it's like, well, how are you staying alive? And where's your building materials coming from? Where's you getting your blood? And how many livers have you had? How many kidneys have you had? Does your shit just rebuild on its own? Yeah, let's now code something that rebuilds on its own with just add blood. All right, so now it makes it easy for them because now they just need to get blood. And maybe we used to know how to grow it somehow, but then we lost that along the way, and now we just got human bodies walking around our blood sacks to like we're food. We share our planet with something that thinks it's food, and then it has like a fucking AI system behind it. Like, yeah, great. It's got this AI system it works with, and it spits them out. Like I've said, I mean, people, they don't have no fucking context for where they are and what fucking time period it is, and they try to feed off of you. They try to get you to admit to them, well, how old are you, or when were you born, to get all these clues. Like, go meet some, like, say you go out of town, man, go, like, you know, 7:30 in the morning, go to a fucking gas station that's, you know, pretty busy, but there's a bunch of homeless people. And, you know, maybe they're hanging out, and when they come to talk to you, man, the first fucking things they're gonna try to ascertain is, how old do you think you are? When were you born? And then suddenly they're gonna get like some fucking brain download of like, okay, this is my storyline to tell this person. Or they've been alive so long that they're gonna use their brain to remember, okay, all right, yeah, this guy's probably gonna be, let me say these phrases to him. And they try to fucking like rock you into sleep like a catatonic, and then they do something to you that will somehow elongate their lives and diminish your interval. Somehow they get your blood like through your skin. That's what I think. I think it's through your skin. You look at like a vampire. Oh, he's been alive 15,000 years. Why? Because he has these little fucking pods all over the world, and like they release fucking, he's got the money to pay for 1,000 mosquitoes per pod per fucking square mile, and whatever he gets his harvest, and like all this fucking, you know, like back end fucking mechanics gets like every year he gets his harvest from his fucking mosquito bins, man. And it's like, you don't give a fuck. And then it goes through some whatever pasteurization process where it gets homogenized, and now he's got his fucking blood, and that's his year supply, and that's like, he's making money. That vampire's making money, and he's living forever, and then he's getting other vampires to do his bidding because they couldn't cut it as a vampire, and they need blood all the time. So this guy's running a bank, and he got more money to buy more nanotech in the form of fucking mosquitoes. I mean, you know, that mosquito goes in that squirrel's mouth, and then the squirrel fucking, you know, I mean, yeah, wherever it goes. And now they got a drop of blood. Like, how many times I go into a church and I can get bit by a fucking mosquito? I'm like, what the fuck is that? How is this thing in here? Nobody warned me or something. It's like, that mosquito belonged to somebody, and now it's gonna go fucking pump my blood into something, or that fucking thing's gonna like eat my fucking blood later. What the fuck, man? It's bullshit. So we're in like this contrived world as cattle, and some of us notice it, some of us see it, and just because something like, like, you know, someone like, oh yeah, everything happens for a reason, and typically, like, yeah, it happens for a reason because we had no fucking choice, or we just presented like, hey, we have the illusion of choice, where we think that, hey, I can be red or blue, on or off, and it's all just a contrived system to get you to keep eating food. And every part of you is like harvested in one way, shape, or form. This is a very efficient system we are up against. It's a very efficient system, and it's had plenty of time to fucking tweak itself. In establishing like the who's, the what's, the why's, where, all that shit, man, it's gonna be hard. It's not gonna be easy. There's a lot of moving parts, and I've been racking my brain for like better part of the last couple of weeks, really trying to figure this out. Where do most people get harvested from? My analysis is that they get on a boat somewhere. These people get on a boat somewhere. Best way to keep, like if you were a cabal of fucking bloodsuckers, or you need blood, like you get, and you want the skin, the bones, like you're gonna do it on a boat. You're gonna get these people on a boat somehow, and they'll go somewhere and think they're like, I mean, it's not hard. I mean, especially if you hypnotize somebody, like they're standing in line outside at the damn port. They're at the port and they think they're in line somewhere else, man, inland. You know, they don't even realize they're next to the ocean somehow. Or, man, there's all this infrastructure that we're like hypnotized out of not even seeing. Like, we can't even see the infrastructure. But we know it's there because there's some mechanism for the way we disappear and get harvested. Um, so, I, yeah, like went out of their way to make us not see something, and that's for a reason. And then when we look at like our historical narrative, it's like, man, they went out of their way to make us think that like we're this nation, we're these people. But like I never really. I mean, it's a tough sell. It takes constant communication, constant iteration, and then you have like a whole generation who is totally on a different device, totally on a different platform. I mean, if you're like a 45, 50-year-old politician today, man, you don't. I mean, come on, man. Like, what do you know about growing up in America and being a 20-year-old? I mean, it's like, man. So we're so compartmentalized from each other to not know anything about each other to the point where we're just a big fucking powder keg. You got a bunch of people that are supposed to be coming up that like didn't get no education and there's no opportunity for, and then you got another tail end of your society that has like been around for a really long time, hold all the cards, seemingly, but they have the perfect excuse. Oh, the government, the left, the right. Each time it's like we're sitting here looking at you old fucking people like, hey man, you're twice my age and I'm 40. Like, what the fuck? Well, you don't have no solution? Like, why do I gotta come up with a solution? So you want us to carry you around on our fucking backs while you sit there and bitch about what it's one reason or the other? It's a powder keg. Now, I know that those people don't really, like, if I sit down with those people and, like, one way or another, man, in 40 questions or less, if they're either going to agree with me or they're going to admit that they believe they're God. That's my challenge to those people. I'll do it to Bill O'Reilly and whatever other fucking fancy fucking talking head you think you have, man. I'll rock them. I will rock those fucking people because they won't be able to handle it. They'll lose their shit. And because they'll be on a show doing it live, like, a guy like me ain't never going to get on that shit. They're going to have to get them on our show, all right? Like, because otherwise, they're not going to be. Most people, like, yeah. I mean, it depends on their belief structure. So, like, I get to hardcore God people, and, like, they're just, like, fucking, like, I get to, like, the fifth question, and they'll be like, Galatians 15, put their hands in your face, and, like, blah, 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 blah. And, like, I'll feel fucking a little weird. In my mind, I'll be like, what the fuck, man? And I'll kind of lose track of my thought, but then I'll stick to my, like, I'll play the broken record. I'll go back to, like, what original question is it? And it's hard, because then you go down in this multi-fucking level, like, fucking, and you pick them apart, and then... I mean, you could see that they're basically just lying to themselves. So how do you wake this person up? How do you get that person to stop lying to themselves? So you got to like kind of implant these ideas in their little fucking, the chinks in their armor, which will be in their logic. You can't. If I ask you a direct yes or no question, you try to say Galatians 10:14, blah 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 blah. I'm gonna look at you like, all right, man, you're dodging the question. Like, is the sky blue or not? Like, what's going on here, man? So we're like, well, wait. So you got eternal life, so you just stopped washing yourself? Like, you stopped taking a shower because you believe you're gonna live forever? Well, all right, let's try. So God wants you to be the smelly guy. That's God's will, right? And then they start, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll quote some fucking scripture that, like, means nothing. And you're, like, scratching your head, like, what the fuck, man? Or, like, I mean, well, hey, all those who blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, man, why aren't you taking a bath again? Or why aren't you washing your skin and changing your clothes on a daily basis? Like, God wants you to be smelly, and God wants you to blow your whole fucking, whatever your monthly check is at the fucking casino. As God will. Like, well, why do you think God makes you do that? Yeah? He's not permitted to have the money. That's right. You do bad things with the money, so he's got to default to some fucking other, gambling where he just pisses away all his money in the first 3 days because he'll do something way fucking worse with it. I mean, that's kind of my analysis. Like, well, so I mean, sooner or later, you start picking apart people, man. You'll discover quickly that it's all just bullshit. And then once you finally get like that fucking, you get that right shot, man. You throw that wrench right in the gear, and their whole fucking construct falls apart, and then they get violent and crazy and yelling and screaming, and they start with the personal attacks. As we'll default to. If it's not like a prescript where they like say all the fucking like blah 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 hypno fucking phrase, then they'll default to like a different mechanism and then a different mechanism, and then finally the person will actually just wake up. They'll wake up, but it might take months, they'll wake up in there for like a split second, but it might take months thereafter. Because their mind is so fucking insulated with years and years of the hypnosis, and like deep stack subliminated patterns of thought that were already pre-constructed. So, for example, you could overlay something on there to like every time that guy like feels like somebody's challenging him, he'll think of like something bad that happened in his life, so he'll get violent real quickly. There's all kinds of fucking tactics you could use with your mind. You just sit down and start fucking thinking them. I mean, I could probably write a book on shit that's been used on me. How people pumped me for information, used me in some slick way. A few times where I had gone into catatony and then couldn't really explain like what I had done with those people. Like, what the fuck? Just oh yeah, you look like you fainted. So yeah, meanwhile it's like yeah, your body's been touched. You're just fucking missing a shirt or something. Like, what the fuck, man? What the hell is this shit? So where'd this come from? And then we've got people who like buy into the system, like, oh yeah, I'm an American, I want a home, and I believe in this system because I got like some job that pays me $80,000 a year to do nothing, and I like having my fancy truck, my Netflix, and my big home, and my pissing contest with my neighbors, and I looking at being the big man, like, I mean, I'm going to Aldi, man, where shit's cheap, and you guys are looking at like $120,000 car parked in the fucking thing. I'm like, all right, man, what the fuck is this, dude? Like, why do you have this? Why are you in our neighborhood? You ain't poor. Like, if you can have this, you ain't poor. What the fuck you doing living around here, man? Shouldn't you be living in some, like, you got enough to spend $120,000 on a car? Like, holy shit. Like, that'd buy me cars for, like, the rest of my life. You know? Like, seriously, what the fuck? And you're shopping at Aldi? I'm going to shop at Aldi. I like it. But at the same time, how the fuck are you shopping at this cheap location when you got that kind of money? Ain't you supposed to be buying like all this bougie shit, healthy shit? Like fucking it costs $8 for a granola bar or whatever. Like you got that kind of money. Why are you driving around that? Because people get to the point where it's like they got so much money and they have nowhere to spend it. Like, or they don't know how to invest it or build their community up with it. So instead they just buy like some extravagant personal purchase that like makes them look totally fucking detached. And I mean, sorry man, I don't like seeing fucking, when I pull up at Aldi, man, I like seeing fucking poor people. I don't like seeing somebody in a fucking $120,000 car. I don't like seeing that. It pisses me off. Like, why are you even shopping at this store? Like, what the fuck? Like, let me get 20 grand of that and I'll go open a restaurant, like, fucking in the 5 abandoned buildings, fucking, 3 doors down. Like, what the fuck? How the fuck are you driving that car? You start seeing Lamborghinis roll town. I mean, I was out in the Midwest, man. Like, you're talking, this ain't low-income place, but, I mean, it's not the place you're going to expect to see a Lamborghini on a daily basis. I mean, there's just nowhere for people to spend their money. And they're like basically placeholders for like some future fucking purchase requirement. I mean, I see that shit and I'm like, man, why don't you go donate $5,000 to a fucking library and drive a fucking $50,000 car and then put 30 in just like a savings account to start with. So you got these people who are supposedly smart enough to have these great jobs. Like, some of your jobs don't have to be, you're going to be smart enough here. They just throw all this wealth at you because, like, this wealth, like, we were at, like, pre-harvest levels of wealth, and then we got harvested, 100 million people disappeared. So now there's all these cheap Lamborghinis, there's these cheap Porsches, there's cheap fucking everything. And someone will get a good deal on it. But what it really does in your neighborhood is it makes it seem like there's the haves and the have-nots. And we start seeing like, well, hey, man, we're shopping at the same place. Why is it you got that car? Like, we start having this animosity towards each other. So that's like how it's like a powder keg. So you have like easily, like, based on my preconceived notion of what my generation and what my country, like what my people are about, are like, I could very easily get upset with a lot of people and point the finger and be like, hey man, look at your fucking extravagance, look at your culpability, your deniability, and how you skate responsibility. And I could fucking outline it for like almost every person. And it's like, if I do that and I knock on your fucking door and say, hey man, you're in this demographic, you are liable, and now I want you to pay us. Like, how are you gonna feel? You're gonna cry, oh, I didn't know. Well, alright, I'm telling you now. So you have X amount of time. Like, this is coming down the pike, people. Like, there's no fucking way you think we're gonna sit here and stay together as a nation and people are gonna fucking wallow in shit while other people drive Porsches to Aldi. You're out of your fucking mind. One day, we're gonna fucking just bash that thing up or take it. You know, depending on the demographics and what's in the cards. Like, it's not gonna be hard to get like all these young people that didn't get harvested. If the AI system can't keep that fucking motherfucker neckbeard in front of the fucking computer playing fucking some bullshit game, and they decide, hey, I'm actually gonna go outside, or you get a guy like me that starts saying, hey man, I don't like what I fucking see, and I see fucking robbery everywhere. I'm gonna start organizing these people, and I'll organize them to the point where it's like, I'll wake them up and just be like, hey man, look at this shit, and it'll then become incumbent upon us to do our duty to fix it, because the future of our country, if you want to call it, if you want to believe in that, you want to call it, hey, it's our country, we're American. Okay, well, what about the 20-year-olds in this country? Well, I don't know nothing about them. I'm just fucking asshole who collects check. Well, goodbye, asshole, man. Goodbye, man. Like, what the fuck? You got like 5 social security numbers. You're collecting all these checks, and then you do all this fancy shit with some fucking pinata shop. And next thing you know, like, yeah, you drive around in a Lamborghini and a Porsche. Like, all you did was pick up the fucking debit cards of like 5 fucking harvested people. And now you're walking around here doing fucking crazy shit, man. Like, hell no, man. We just start working together, or we're just gonna take everything from you first, because that's how it's being lined up. All right, that's how it's being lined up. Those are the stars that are aligning. I mean, it'd be so easy for me to throw a match on this right now, but I'm not. So I want another solution, and the solution ain't fucking like playing into false establishment of preconceived notions. Okay, so like that guy in that Porsche is not our enemy. All right, not our enemy. And in fact, it's evidence. All right, it's evidence. But at the same time, like, we can't be buying this story. Like, the only thing that matters in this whole fucking world, I'll tell you right now, is that fucking truck showing up to Walmart. That's the only thing that should fucking matter to you. Alright? You want to take everything else for granted, man, go ahead. That truck stopped showing up there and you ain't got no groceries, and then fucking, now what? What are you gonna do? You live on some fucking $250,000 parcel, you're gonna get an equity line and travel 1,000 miles, or spend $1,000 to travel 2,000 miles to get a fucking pallet of rice? Alright? That's the only fucking thing that should matter to you. Is that goddamn pallet shows up at that fucking store. That's it. That's it. That's national security. Okay? And we have this false sense of security in it. And we get baselined and tested, and they had the pandemic come on, man. They cut off our toilet paper and paper towels right away. I said, well, let's see what they do. Macro scale fucking supply chain interruption, and then see what fucking comes out the other end. It's not hard. So now we got a boogeyman, like us young people in the know. Like, man, we're looking at these other generations, like, how the fuck could you do this to us? Okay, point blank, how could you do this to us? And you're gonna be like, well, gee, I don't know. Well, hold on, man. Like, you got all the benefits. It's like you basically invited us to some fucking party, and the keg, and you charged us fucking, $20,000 a head to get in, and the keg was empty. There was no music, and there was just a bunch of trash on the ground. And then you were like, oh, by the way, you gotta clean up too. Yeah, right. You're just gonna set your house on fire, man. Like, come on. What were you thinking? Like, you just sell the American dream to all these fucking people. Yeah, well, alright. How do you plan to do that when there's no fucking food on the shelves? Someone else just comes along and destroys your supply chain. There you go. What are you going to do? I mean, it's not hard to shut down a city. You just shut down its supply chain. That's all you got to do. 5 well-placed pieces of fucking, interruptions. How's that? And they put some humans on those fucking tracks. Yeah, guess what? I mean, you got fucking 1,000 people sitting out here on the railroad tracks. Fucking 500,000 people in City X ain't gonna eat. And they're gonna start looking at the fucking mayor and be like, hey, what the fuck's going on? And be like, yeah, well, there's a group of people who fucking say we got too much and fucking we have so much money and we don't share it. Now they're just shutting our city down because we wanted to believe we were better than everybody else. And they called their bluff, and now they're out there. And guess what? There ain't gonna be no food on that fucking train no more, because then people are gonna stop that train every fucking time. And they're gonna take that food and just haul it on away on trucks. Because we want to have all the money in the world, and we didn't want to put anything back in the economy. We didn't know how to spend it, we claimed. We claimed we were too stupid. We tried to play dumb. We played every card we had. Now these people are at the gates. Yeah. It's gonna happen here in America. Like, short of one person like unifying everybody and bringing everybody together, man, that's what's coming down the pike. All right, that is coming down the pike. They're already doing it in different parts of the world. They want to call it fucking Ukrainian war and blah 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 blah. Fucking shows us what our might is, man. Come on, we can go down there. According to our historical narrative, we should be able to just go there and shut that shit right the fuck down. But we don't. Wow, you're gonna blame our president? Come on, Congress goes to war, not the fucking president. You got all your Republicans, everybody soften this, soften that. It's like, dude, what the fucking Congress needs to fucking, act of war. Here you go, man. Wartime authorizations. Here you go, yeah. Fucking bomb them. Send this, send that. Yeah, we ain't got it. We don't have nearly the military we say we have. Hell no, man. Some countries believe us. Other countries are like, yeah, right, dude, we're so much bigger than you. I mean, look at China. You think China even gives a fuck about us, man? They ain't afraid of us. The Chinese, we're literally taught a storyline that the Chinese, they got cheap goods, them Chinese planes, our planes to take them out. You're fucking right, man. Chinese aren't even fucking around. They're already in space. They're already up there in the solvent. Alright. So you want to believe, hey, we need a boogeyman, man. I mean, think about it this way. What happens when you got a bunch of people, that bubble comes down, man, and it fucking starts getting really cold in other parts of the world, and they start getting on boats. And they come up to our coasts. I mean, they're already doing that, man. They got shipping containers coming over there filled with food, and then other ones filled with people. Alright? I mean, you got that fucking big transoceanic vessel, and man, there's a fucking 100,000 people on there waiting to get into this fucking country just on that boat. That's what 100,000 people looks like. Alright? And they wait out in port, and we bring them food. We ain't got no room for you, man, because we got a construct here, too. If we just let you guys all in, you wind up all over the place. You'll be doing street gangs. You'll be fucking shit up. You'll just be like, because you know why? Because we don't have the army. We don't have a police force. You think like fucking they drop off freaking, say 30,000 Asians wash up on the shore of Los Angeles. Yeah, and they start organizing, and maybe they brought over a crate of fucking Uzis, right? Like, here you go. All right, yeah. Now we're gonna go, and then they bring over like some cargo containers full of other merch. Who the fuck knows, man? Plug themselves right into the community, establish themselves within fucking weeks, and you think like some fucking police force is actually gonna be able to help you? Yeah, fucking right, man. Them people will roll your police force, like roll you guys up and fucking smoke you. And then what are you gonna think? The National Guard's gonna come out and handle gang violence, man? Them people be so well entrenched in all the fucking property. Like, who? What Americans are gonna be like? Well, I don't know, man. Like 12 Asians just moved in next door. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, come on, you're gonna go? You're gonna speak their language, like, and they're just gonna kind of keep to themselves. Yeah, welcome to America, man. That's how it is. All right, that's how it is. So if they come here and they're not fucking militant, we basically just let them in because we need them anyway. All right, and but if you're like the American, you got like bought into the debt slavery, and now like this guy ain't got documents, and he can be here for like 10 years, and they'll finally give him a social security card or whatever the fuck, man. He'll get a sponsor or some shit on paper that makes it look legit, but I mean, in the end, that guy's gonna start paying taxes when he starts buying shit, and that's the point of the sales tax. And we can also measure with the sales tax, like, hey, who's doing what where. That's, going back to the mass data that we have, and it's evident. It's evident, and there's no way that we can afford not to spend every fucking penny we have right now, right in our own country, and just doing shit. Massive public works, massive things that are gonna help. But it's all done in like fucking secret, and we're basically lied to. While you have like this like 1% of people, which might you want to call them the rich, but they're not necessarily the rich. They're just people that like see the pattern, and they've angled themselves like in a position to survive, and also build and protect. Because then hey man, what do you do? I mean, what would you do if just like an army of 300 people rolled up into fucking your town? 300. I mean, what did you do? They establish a small fucking headquarters, and you're like, holy shit, what's going on? And then you call the police, all right? And then what's that guy gonna do? Yeah, that guy ain't gonna go nowhere near 300 armed men in a fucking with all these tents and fucking equipment. Like, that guy ain't going nowhere near, so he's gonna call the state police. Hey, you got a bunch of brown people up there with machine guns and fucking Humvees and helicopters coming in. Like, really? The state police come out, check it out. Maybe it won't come back. Maybe it will. Like, man, what's that? Is some training next time? Then they'll call the governor, and the governor won't know what the fuck's going on either. And he'll call somebody in D.C. He'll be like, "Well, really?" It'll be like the senators or something of like fucking his own state. Like, hey, you guys doing some training exercise with Chinese, blah, blah, blah. There's a bunch of brown people in green uniforms out there. May probably match our uniform anyway. Yeah, I mean, that'd be the smart thing to do. You don't even have any fucking insignia, or have an American flag insignia on there. Have a couple token Russians on the team that look like white. You guys, American, they're the ones operating the fucking booth at the front or something like that. Meanwhile, they're building the base. And then here comes more people. And now here come the tanks and the ordnance. And we're like, what would you do? And they'd be like, hey, man, we're just going to take your farmland. This is all we want. We want the entire Pacific Northwest. Like, this is it. Like, we went past Seattle. We won't care about that. We just want this farmland. We're going to stay here. And they got all the weaponry, and they've got tens of thousands of people within a few months. What the fuck would you do? You gonna take up arms and go there, man? You got fucking ammo? You got ammo? You going? All right, man. It's like, what, $2 a bullet? I mean, the second they start realizing people are mobilizing some type of militia, man, boom, they're going to just bomb our infrastructure. They'll bomb the roads. All right, we don't want you guys getting this close, and then they're going to plant a fucking crop. And because we like to lie to ourselves, we don't have no fucking military, man. They'll just come roll right on us and just take our shit. And it's like, we've been like this huge fucking, like, here's a stash, because we know we sold all this shit to America, so it's going to be somewhere in these houses. This equipment that we need, it'll be somewhere in these houses. That's how fragile our society is. It very easily fall apart because everything that you think we have, we don't. Okay, and that's my main point. I want to drive home. Just like all the people that want to live so lavishly in like these fancy fucking places, and just get down on people and not even understand what the fuck it is you do. You don't even understand what your job is. You just know it pays you $125,000 a year, and you just file some fucking report. And it goes in some black hole, or you just like sit here and watch some fucking monitor some computer program when it spits out like a fucking standard deviation that deviates from the fucking distribution. You're like, yeah, well, I better make a phone call. Oh, okay, that's all that guy does. I mean, he just fucking lives in a penthouse, or like okay. I mean, it's just like the whole dream is it's just that. It's just that. It only works when enough people believe in it. And we're at the point now where people are so smart and educated that it's hard to believe. Like we're that dumb. Like, oh, the people running our country are just that fucking stupid, or they're just that criminal. But life's so good for me, oh, I'm not going to burn them at the stake. And that gets to the point where it's like, hey, life ain't so good no more, man. What's going on here? Uh, you get your cycles, your boom and bust. Now I'm upside down on my mortgage, and I don't understand the world or know anything about it. And it's like, oh, okay, it's pandemic time for that guy. Well, all right, that 20 years passed, let's bring in some fucking thing. And now that guy is like asking these questions, like, yeah, what the fuck is all this shit, man? Why do I have all this stuff? I mean, I don't even, like, all I do, those people need drugs at like age 40. Like, if you've been a professional since your 20s, and hey, you got plugged in a good job, and then you had some kids, you met your wife, raised 3 kids, and sent them up to school, and then you're like just sitting there like, oh, and then I made my man cave, and then I got my 1 or 2 hobbies, and then I bought like a classic car, and then I like rebuilt that, and then fucking went to the car shows, and like I've done everything, I've done it all, right? And now what? And now you're looking around, like, then you kind of see like how fucking pointless it is or something, then something bad's gonna happen to you, like, or if like you're too strong-minded, then suddenly like every opportunity presents itself to where it seems like it's a good idea, like, or your sexuality will change, like suddenly you just like take an interest in fucking the opposite sex or something like that, right? Like it's just, like flipping a fucking switch. I mean, come on, you've seen it all before. You've seen it all before. And there's no fucking way that we can survive if we don't work together. And we got to see this shit for what it is. Like, there is no, like, when you take that guy in that fucking fancy penthouse, man, he loses his job, and then he's upside down in the mortgage, and somebody else comes in to get him out, dude. Like, he gonna be on the street just all like, oh, what the fuck, man? Yeah, he's gonna have all these fancy clothes he can't take with him because they won't fit in his fucking Porsche. And then like, oh, I gotta try to sell this, but then there's like nobody to buy it. And he's like sitting there like, well, what the fuck was this all anyway? Like, wait, how come nobody's willing to buy this? How was I put $1,000 fucking suit up for like $50 on one of these platforms and nobody buys it? Like, how is that possible? Like, how come that don't work? Where's the money? I'm desperate. Well, yeah, I guess there's the government to rely on. Yeah, you got unemployment. Okay, this will tide you over, get you out of whatever situation is because you lost your job because we passed some law. So it's all like this fucking back end deal making shit that then overlays onto like a paradigm of fucking just nonsense and waste. Like, they burn most of this money. Like, there's so much money in banks right now, they just fucking burn it. Like, think about it. You had 300 million people, all that wealth acquired, 100 million people just go, they're gone. Where's all their fucking money? Where's their wealth? There's not, like, there's just money in the bank. It's all imaginary. And then it just like, oh, then the computer system goes down, the internet goes down, you lose your fucking, your Wi-Fi, and now your money's gone. And that person's harvested. So, like, boom, that money just disappeared out of the economy. And now there's, like, all this fucking, like, like, where's the cash at? Where's the cash? So, like, yeah, they don't even have it, like, they created artificial liquidity and then just basically erased it by equivalent of setting it on fire. So it's like most of this money is just going in the black hole, because we actually had the money we say we had. Like, I mean, come on, man, our road should be paved in fucking gold. I mean, there's a reason why my car will drive itself in certain states, like other states it won't. Um, so it's like, what's going on here? Where's the infrastructure? If we got this kind of money, where's the infrastructure? Oh, we send it on defense. And it's like, all right, I mean, you maintain like 7 aircraft carrier and fucking, all these standing army. That like, it's not very evident that we have them. Like, I want to see them motherfuckers. I want to see 20,000 fucking soldiers on a base somewhere that you claim we have. Like, yeah, and 20,000, oh, they're stationed all through Germany and blah, 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 blah. It's like, all right, well, fucking bring them all to the base for a fucking parade or something, and like parade a missile or a fucking badass airplane. Like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, where's our military? I want to see it. I want to see that before I'm going to believe any fucking story you tell me about. Because otherwise, I'm going to believe we're just the victims here, and we're just like under continual attack and constantly being evaded. Because if we don't share, we want to hoard here in America after a harvest, man. Other countries are going to come here like refugees. Like, look, man, we're strapped. We're strapped. We got weaponry. We got technology. We're just going to take your land. And then you want to have a fucking big war, or are you going to let us through the door? Because they didn't have a choice, because their lands are fucking frozen, man. Their lands are fucking like, 3,000 feet of ice over their land. Or just too cold to live there. I mean, that dome comes down, man. That liquid helium, goes into the ocean. It will freeze instantly, and it'll create this big giant piece of ice that will then float and then go like over the land. And it's gonna come down like the same location. Once there's like a whatever you want to call it, I call it a point of nucleation, right? Like basically like somebody bursts the bubble, but the bubble's always trying to kind of keep it. So it's like, so if somebody bursts like the bubble wherever it pops at, that a stream of helium is gonna flow in like kind of like a jet, like a water fountain. Like, you just so it would come in, and then it would hit a certain point of liquid helium, and then the bubble would split, and then the heat from us, all the way, like it would push, and then it would push, and then try to restore like the bubble, but you'd still get that stream of liquid helium coming into the ocean, and that shit's gonna freeze on contact, man. I mean, that shit's up there negative 470 degrees. So I mean, it's gonna, that molecule for molecule, I mean, that shit's gonna come in, and well, the weight to, I mean, but basically, man, it's gonna freeze the water really fucking fast, and it's gonna pull the energy right out of the water and freeze it instantaneously. And as it does that, the ice is going to come, I want to float out of the ocean, and more is going to be formed, and it's going to form other ice around it. It's kind of like if you ever put a beer in the freezer, and then you're looking at it and it's liquid, and then somehow like it nucleates, like you flip it upside down or you open it, and then next thing you know, the whole fucking thing's ice and it's coming out. Okay, that's the same principle. Essentially, well, that's under pressure, but it nucleates somewhere, and then there's the ice coming out, and it's like you can't even fucking stop it. I mean, so that shit's gonna happen to the ocean, and people won't really like understand what the hell's going on. Like, we've seen that too with like ice coming out of the water. I've seen a couple videos, by lakes, and like you just see, like, and you can hear it, and it sounds fucking eerie, man. Like the ice literally coming out of the lake, and you're like, what the fuck? And it's like creeping up on this dude's like fucking lawn, and it's like, yeah, man, like that's being flash frozen, and it's expanding. Like certain parts of it are being flash frozen, and it's like sucking all the heat out of the surrounding ice, and then the water molecules orientate themselves in like a lattice structure such that it's larger than as a solid form than it is as a liquid, because the molecules are now like orientated with a rigid angular or geometric form. So it ain't just as simple as water on water, and as water, like it is a liquid. So it expands. It expands. The water expands. So you got this shit just come right out of the fucking ocean, man, and like might just slap a fucking, 18-mile fucking chunk of ice right on one of your cities. Boom. Now here's the glacier, and it's gonna fucking melt all over your terrain. I mean, fuck, man. Imagine like an 80-mile chunk of ice. This fucking bashes up against your fucking city, and then just, keeps growing, and then it like just wipes off, and it melts, and as it melts, it's gonna flood everything. And whatever's frozen in there, people wonder how the fish get in these fucking ponds. How does that fish get in that pond? Like, where the fuck did... This pond's like in the middle of nowhere. How does fish get in it? Yeah. A big old chunk of ice with a frozen fish fucking melted. And now there's fucking fish out here in the middle of fucking a mountain. Yeah. Alright? Like, ain't nobody carry a fish up and kept it in a fucking fish bowl and then put it in there. Nobody came up. Alright? That's how that shit happens. You got fucking all these chunks of ice. And it's. Hey. So we've got like this massive fucking war. We've got war with each other. We've got economics overlaying. We've got a fucking externality that lives on the moon that harvests us for our fucking blood, organs, bones, skin. We're essentially like slave labor for them. So we're fighting a war on all fucking fronts here, people. And it's hard to not participate because you gotta burn your gas. You gotta create your heat. You have to create heat. That's how we keep the bubble up. That's how we keep the bubble off us. Alright? So when you got unexplained cold dampness suddenly in your region, like that probably means like a chunk of ice fell off the roof. Alright? And as it falls, it's like it vaporizes. Or you got water vapor, goes right up there, and then it turns into ice immediately as it gets close enough, and then comes back down, turns in, and it just keeps on doing that. That would create the appearance, I believe, that it's floating. It's like our clouds, they're water vapor. It's condensed water vapor that's continuously trying to expand and get away from itself, but it can't because of the dipole of the electromagneticity of the water molecule itself. The water wants to be next to other water. Put it that way, like because they're like magnets. They essentially, and the more you heat it, the more heat it absorbs, then it's going to expand further and overcome the magneticity, the magnetic interactions between the similar molecules, the H2O. So if you heat it, it'll overcome that, the attraction, and it'll expand further, and then you won't see it. But if the cloud goes up higher, it'll get colder, the molecules come closer together, and then it condenses into water droplets and rain molecules, and then it comes to the ground. So it's important that our clouds don't raise up really fast. So everything's calculated and very important. And by this logic, we should see certain parts of our world that are just covered in ice because our clouds somehow wind up there and it just dumps everything there. And we have this situation where we're responsible for heating certain parts of the world, and certain countries are responsible for producing their fucking quota of energy fucking waste, and they can't, or they won't, or they don't for whatever reason, and then it fucks with the whole global weather. China stops burning coal, and then for some reason you get wildfires in California. All right, however it works out. Or they get harvested. Like I said, there's tiles. So each country is like a section, and or a continent, and they harvest from them. And they feed you some storyline. It started out look like it was a global harvest. Everybody believed in COVID. like I said, man, I tried to go get it, and I couldn't get it. I mean, I was smoking so many cigarette butts out of the Sam's Club fucking ashtray, like, I just couldn't get it. Couldn't get it. Unless I already had it years and years and years ago, maybe that's true too, but I couldn't fucking get it. Couldn't get it. Nothing fucking kill me, so, yeah. I mean, but it explains why we're missing it. And then the people that we don't see are also they just never came out after the pandemic. They're at home watching Netflix or whatever fucking streaming platform. It's all bullshit, man. All fucking bullshit. All bullshit. So, like, if you're listening to this, man, I hate to be cliche, but you are the fucking resistance, man. We need to start getting together. And I'm slow to respond to people. I understand that. Like, I'll do video response, man. Like, I'm out here. I'm in this shit, man. I do not have a roof over my head. I have no fucking money. I am definitely out here fucking being witness to all the fucking Beelzebubs, man, the homeless people I interact with, man. Like there's people that's like, well, how the fuck are you even here, man? I don't even understand. And they'll have like some fucking like bogus storyline, and so like you can tell like there's not many there's not many of us, and we get some of us together and we're all on the same page, man. We can be very strong. Okay, we can be very strong. We can build a new country, and then we just make it the trend. And all these fucking Beelzebubs, like they're controlled by like the AI and the decision architecture. Man, they'll have no choice but to go along with it. Like that's how it works. Basically, you game the AI into believing that X, Y, and Z are true for these reasons. And then you got enough people to believe them, everything makes sense, and then like they'll just give you all the Beelzebubs. Like, yeah, sure, there you go. But in the meantime, man, or in between harvests, because they'll see that like you're gonna get a much bigger harvest at the end, if they give us all the Beelzebubs. Like we need these 18 candidates in these fucking seats. And we need all these votes for them, so the AI will go with it because it'll secure the outcome that they're desiring. But at the same time, they won't really know what our level of organization is. But because it aligns up with their productivity quota, like, hey, if this person gets in an office, they'll pass these laws, which will give these people these resources to reproduce, which will give us more bones and blood, and it'll go with it. It'll go with it. It won't try to stop us, essentially. So we've got to get a lot more organized, and we need to learn how to work within the system. Okay, and not fucking kill each other. And you gotta believe this shit, cause it ain't. You're not in America, man. Like you're not in America. You can believe it all you want, but in the end, it's just some fucking piece of paper that some people signed, and now, like, a couple hundred years ago, or a couple hundred years fast forward, you got a bunch of fucking nut job criminals running the whole country, and nobody gives a fuck? Come on, man. You think, like, the 300 million people, they wouldn't burn that fucking Capitol down already? Like, we had to storm the Capitol, alright? What was left? What was left of society went and said, hey, man, like, we'll fucking knock on your door. Wake up, America. Wake the fuck up. You know, yeah. There's nobody fucking here. There's nobody here in this country. But there's hardly anybody here. People you do talk to are like fucking, man, they're blitzkrieged out of their fucking own thoughts. The second you start making any sense about what's going on in the world, they get Beelzebub and fucking boom. There's only a handful of us who are like cognizant and know about it. Like, there's not many. And then we got to bring everybody else with us. It's hard to wake people up. There's a method. There's a process. There's things that we can do to make it more efficient and not fuck it up for the future either. That's really important. Like, we can't be fucking this up for the future. So when we get cooked down, it's our responsibility to realize it, and we're supposed to be teaching afterwards. Okay, especially those of us who, hey, we made it through, and we're still alive, and we're permitted to exist still, and we're permitted these items or objects. Because anything can be taken from you at any time. You think, oh, no, no, no. Well, it's like, man, nobody's going to, like, come kick your door in and, like, take the gun out of your hands. Like, no, you're going to go through a series. Like, if you ain't supposed to be authorized to have that gun, you're going to go through a series of life events that's going to get that gun from your hands and make you do it yourself, man. You're going to wind up selling it and doing some shit like just, oh, fuck, man. Oh, yeah, man, I really want one of those. Man, I'm going to sell 3 of my guns to get it at half price. Or somehow, some way, like, something will come along that's going to take that shit from you in some way, shape, or form, and it's going to get you to do it yourself and make you think it was your own idea. And it's like, then you'll look back at 10 years like, man, I never should have done it. Or like, how the fuck did I ever, why would I ever do that anyway? Like, it don't make sense to me. And shit like that happens all the time. And that's how we're stripped. Like, we're stripped of our shit, like the people that are aware and understand what's going on. We can see all this shit, and, oh, Jesus. Yeah, there. Yeah, fucking feet. Alright. Yeah, that's really kind of amazing, but it looks like. Alright. The eyes would be all black, but it'll be like fucking broad daylight, man. It'll be like that. So, like, you kind of want to be, like, aware and just see how, like, the fucking, the googly eye shit works. Like, it'll go around and around and around as they try to hypnotize you. It's like, what the fuck is this? What is this? Is this a person? Is this a human? What the fuck's going on? So, I mean, it's hard to tell, and we're stuck down here with a lot of shit. There's a lot going on. You got these motherfuckers waking up. They're basically vampires coming in like 200 years late, and they're expected. They're like, well, they don't even know what time it is anyway, so they easily get ripped off. But they were like so. But already be like prearranged, so you got these people that are waking up, and alright, it's not the America they expected. And that's the best part. I mean, that's some justice for us. Like, it will be not the America they expected. They're gonna be like, wait, where am I? But for example, they'll look at black people as like, oh, they'll think like they're still like some subclass of people, and then like someone will have to inform them about like civil rights and all this other shit that happened, and then it'll be like, how can that be? Or that's odd. Like, what do you mean it's odd? Like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? This guy the other day was making fun of Jews. I'm like, what the fuck? I asked him and his friend, and I asked them if they, between the two of them, neither one of them would answer what year it was. Well, one did, but he claimed it was some fucking year 3,000 years from now. So I was like, alright, man, like, fucking, making Jew jokes. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I was taught all these fucking, I was taught, like, all my countrymen fucking died in that war for the Jews, and you're gonna be over here fucking making jokes, like, completely insensitive to anything. Like, I'm supposed to believe that guy's just a hater, but it didn't match his, like, his outward projection of, like, his age and who he was. You're gonna sit there and make some Jew joke, like, but it just didn't add up. It didn't add up unless the guy just, like, literally just fucking woke up and he thought that, like, it was supposed to turn out different and it was okay to make fun of Jews and other people. Like, I can tell. It's like, man, it seems like you've been sleeping for like 200 years and you already know the drill. You know you're going to wake up in America and it's going to be something like this. But this time you woke up and, like, you were supposed to see the technology roll out, and you were supposed to get in all the good investments and all this shit and be all this rich man. But it turns out, like, when you woke up, everybody already had the technology. What you thought you were gonna, like, invest in over the next 20 years, people already got it. People already have that shit, and you're looking around like, holy fuck. Now you're scared out of your fucking mind, and you ain't never even felt fear before because, well, you're a vampire. Why would you? You live forever. You just gotta get some blood. Even if you get down to your bones, somebody just fills your coffin with blood and you come back to life. So, why would you ever experience fear? And now, you wake up and you're in some like fancy fucking home with some fancy getup and you got all your paperwork and your money, but we're looking at you like, man, we know you're not fucking human this time. We're looking at you like, we fucking know. And then you approach that person and they're like, not necessarily Beelzebub, but other things will happen to keep you from that person, keep you away from that person. When in reality, we need to be saying, hey man, like, where the fuck did you come from? And don't give him any info. No info for that man. We don't tell him, and they say just that. Welcome to America, motherfucker. Like he just got off the boat. And then you fucking interrogate him. And you wait patiently for the answer. Like, alright. Name 5 presidents. I mean, just ask questions. What sound does a giraffe make? Just questions that like kind of sends his head in a different direction each time. And see how like quick he's able to answer. Or if it takes him fucking 2 minutes to answer who our president is, and he don't know what year it is, and he owns $1 million fucking house, fuck that guy. No fucking way. Not in my community. Who the fuck are you? Where'd you come from? How do you own this house? How are you living there? I'm Maxwell Baxter, and here's my fucking deed. Yeah, right. Fuck you, man. That name don't even matter. Nobody's supposed to be around here. How did you come from? Where did your family come from? How did you get here? Yeah. Came over from Liverpool or some shit. It's like fucking. What do your grandparents do for work? Ask them all these questions. Ask people that. Those questions. What do your grandparents do for work? They can't tell you because they've been alive for 2,000 fucking years and their grandparents are long gone. Grandparents? Oh shit. I haven't heard that word in fucking forever. Grandparents. Like those, just ask questions and the details. Ask questions and you'll find in the details that you're having a conversation with yourself. And at that point you have to accept that guy is wirelessly controlled by a greater intelligence. You don't have to call the greater intelligence God, alright? It doesn't have to be that. Whatever paradigm you subscribe to, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. These things are fucking real. They exist alongside us in society every day, and they control a lot of shit because they seem to control all the fucking money, or they control all the information, which are the gateways to the money. So, for example, like I said, like you'll have people that are like, traveling around. They already know this. I mean, they get multiple social security numbers. They get everything. You got a couple good actors. You give me names, social security numbers that match up plus or minus 10 years of my age, man. I'll go in there and get crazy checks for every single one of them. And then, boom, now I got fucking 18 grand a month in revenue. Or if you could buy and sell EBT cards of harvested people. All this shit checks out, man. This shit all checks out. You got there's no way there's 320 million people in this country. If there would, there'd be like way more fucking food stores. Because that means for like just the Tampa Bay area, I mean, you're talking, all right, how much food does 1,000 people eat in a week? And that 1,000 people, how much do people eat in a week? Like, they're going to shop at like one grocery store. There you go. So if you got like one grocery store for every 1,000 people, man, or whatever the fucking baseline is, however you want to do your numbers, right? Like you'll find it's way out of whack. It's nowhere near what it should even be close to. That's why I'm so confident in the claim. And I throw numbers out before really thinking about them. But just on let's just say 1,000 people. Like there's 1,000 different people that need one grocery store per 1,000 people. Right? Like figure 1,000 people a week are gonna consume like fucking, I don't know, maybe 300 gallons of milk, all right, 100 pounds of butter. I don't know. Like, all right. So, hey, yeah, all right. So I got my grocery store. We sell like 5-6 cases of butter a week. There you go. sell fucking 8 bossies of milk. We have this many unique rings. When you've worked in the business, food business, it's kind of a different story. Like, you can see the trends, and that's why I go to like all these grocery stores, because I'm keeping my eye on product availability and supply chain. Like, I feel good when I see the food on the shelf and I see the price. All right. Well, I mean, the price is going to be the price no matter what, man. But it'll give you a good indication of inflation. Go walk your grocery stores. Don't just go out once every 2 weeks, man. Go if you're retired and you got money, don't go fucking play the lottery. Go out and buy. Go drive to the store. Donate $1 or $2 to somebody you see on the streets. Go to the ATM, get the cash out, and put the cash back in circulation. And spend the money on shit that's not going to get taxed. Like, don't go, you got to put gas in your tank, but don't just go drive around and then burn gas, because most of that money just goes into a black hole too. Like, try to spend cash in your community. Try to support a local business. Try to go get your car detailed. Go buy some fucking flowers or something from a florist. Just go spend cash in your community. Go to your grocery store. Keep an eye on the price of food. Maybe take somebody out to a restaurant. If you're paying, you're on fixed income and you got all this money you don't know what to do with, or if you're just scraping by, renegotiate your fucking rent if you're renting. I mean, damn. Yeah. Like, say, hey, man, I see places a lot cheaper, so I want you to adjust this for fucking the economy. Scarcity, supply and demand. Because there's no way you should be paying $1,200 for a fucking trailer. I mean, come on, a trailer for like $300, man. You can finance it for like $200. I mean, $200 a month for like a $25,000 trailer. There you go. 30-year loan for Mrs. McGee. Here. Why is she paying fucking $1,200 a month? Some landlord who's just like some fucking slum guy who lives next door, and he owns a trailer, and he comes by and fucking crawls under the trailer and fucking hooks up the fucking PVC water pipe into some fucking, come on, man. They're fucking pumping the water out of the ground. It's like, wow, the water bill. It's like, motherfucker, you're pumping out of the ground, man. You're an electric motor. Your fucking water bill's $7 a month in electricity. What the fuck you talking about? But people get down on other people that don't know no better. And people that don't know no better will fucking pay it too. They'll fucking pay it. We're gonna help these people. We're gonna help these people understand. We're gonna negotiate for people. I can't really do it alone. We need to organize. We need to have a political party. There's no doing this without a new political party. And we already seen this. We've seen it, with the whole Tea Party Republicans. Them Tea Party Republicans were the real Republicans, people. Like, there was no separate fucking faction. There's, you get your Beelzebub fake faction of people, the Republicans on paper. And then you got your actual ones that say, hey, man, I'm looking around at this shit and it all looks like bullshit. Let's band together and go this way. Alright? So, them were like the woke people, and that was fucking years and years ago. Now the woke people just storm the Capitol. I was there not long ago, and I'll tell you now, it looks like we're down to one branch of government. Just saying. Alright? And it's about the only one functioning there. The fucking president ain't home, and the fucking Congress is fucking nowhere to be found. Saw a couple senators with their entourage walking through. They went through, there was a demonstration for the Roe v. Wade thing they walked through, and but mostly it's just fucking nonsense. They don't even have an actual entourage. It was a paid Secret Service entourage. You think they'd have a group of 20 people following them constantly. I know I would. If I was a senator, I would never stop fucking campaigning. I would go get the law, read it, and then go back to my state and then start having sit-ins and town halls about hey, this is the law they're trying to pass, this is what it's gonna do, this is I have one vote, but if we really want to fuck with them, let's go do this, 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 and this. And we'll fucking tell everybody else. This is what we gotta do. We're in big fucking trouble in this country. I know I'm playing a broken record, but the answer is not private property. The answer is definitely not private property. There's too much of that. There's too much of it, and then there's not enough people, and then it's all just fake. And it's all just shit on paper. And basically, like, we get the leftovers out of everybody, they're all thrown in, and then we're, like, stratified on social lines, and nobody ever asks a question. Like, yeah, that's cool, I get it, we're the fucking refugee camp, but at the same time, you get fucking people like me that bought into the system, and then we get pissed when the system don't fucking pay out. We're like, hey, man, you got all this fucking empty property laying around, and you like fuck over the next all these generations, and then like trying to tell them, oh, well, was these people's fault, and they're dead now, or like you're not getting Social Security, and by the time you're 25 or 30, your houses are gonna cost $800,000 for a 2-bedroom. Like, yeah, no, man, that's not gonna work for me because I'm not making $72 an hour working at fucking McDonald's. So how are we gonna fix this problem besides you giving fucking American property? You know, I'm an American. Well, you're giving away property to all these fucking people from all over the world that are coming from societies that already got harvested. You don't want to be honest about it, and then us actual Americans all get fucking shit on. Like, how does that fucking work? And you think I'm not gonna like just start putting shit together and fucking taking steps like into my own hands, organizing a little fucking private army, and fucking maybe just destroy some bridges and some fucking railroad tracks. How about that? You better make sure there's fucking senators and congressmen in their fucking office in the goddamn Capitol. And if I go in there and ask them a question, they better know the fucking answer to something they put their fucking signature on. Otherwise, we're at war. Because you guys are a fake fucking government, and I become the state. So, there you go. How's that? I'm the state now. Because you guys aren't even fucking doing anything. There's a bunch of fake people. And everybody else has fucking woke up like, man, you're like, alright, well, what do we do? What do we do? Yeah, man, I'll show you the way. Trust me, I'll show you the way. You know, the motherfuckers want to start complaining, yeah, man, like, I'll shut down all New York City with 5 well-placed sticks of fucking dynamite, man. It won't be too hard. And I won't even have to do it. You know, there'll be like 7 layers of dissociated, fucking compartmentalized, fucking, OPSEC need-to-know basis. There you go, boom. Yeah, you'll know it's me or want to believe it's me, but then, like, but it's that easy. That's how fragile your fucking whole system is. And the only thing you can think of is like, hey, man, the AI protects us. That's what's meant by cowardly wokeness, is all those fucking people, okay? You know, but then you get a guy like me, I can make moves. Like, I can travel, and you ain't gonna stop me because you don't have nobody. There ain't no fucking CIA. Like, man, I've been there too. The fucking feds, yeah, dude, they're fucking rookie feds, man. They're, you know, the best chance you got is like some fucking, you know, army that's created by some fucking crypto billionaire. That's gonna be like, hey, man, we gotta protect the infrastructure because I like having my penthouse have water in the fucking 80th floor on this fucking, you know, multi-million. Yeah, it's like, but man, you know, you look at like what our actual population is, and then we like shut down your city. Like, you're fucking, everybody in your city's gonna be looking at you with hungry eyes. Like, why the fuck are we stuck here with you? How do you have all this shit? Give us money. We can't get out, and nothing comes in. What's going on? And they're gonna look to you, and they're gonna rip you right the fuck out of your $1 million fucking penthouse. And they're just gonna take all your shit and beat the shit out of you, leave you, fucking stone you to death in the street because they'll blame you anyway. So, I mean, come on, think about it. Think about it. What would you do? Just get a group of fucking 20 people, man, run around the country, do that shit, man. It's firework time, man. Look, it's fucking New Year's Eve, right? Like, man, you know how easy it is to, like, get a box of dynamite fucking whipped up out of fucking, you know, 10 boxes of this other shit? That ain't fucking hard, man. It's not hard, alright? So, basically, if you're aware, and don't kill nobody, just attack the supply chain and see how quick it comes out and gets repaired, and see who repairs it. That's all. Jack the Transit, man. You guys all want to sit there and be like, yeah, I'm going to be a victim. I'm perfectly happy being fucking harvested in 20 years. I don't care that my kids are going to fucking die at age fucking 14, 18, or whatever. I mean, your kid's going to die because they went and got on the football team, hit a certain level of healthiness, and he had all his teeth. He's just going to get harvested. He's just going to disappear one day. And you're going to be like, where's my kid? Blah, blah, blah. And then it'll be like, oh, some fucking bullshit investigation. And then it'll like, and then you'll always be wondering, like, what the fuck? There's tons of people out there like that, but you don't hear their fucking stories. And we're going to seek justice for those people unless the people that are actually in charge start fucking speaking without regard for their own life, like me. Because I'm going to serve it up straight, man. I'm not going to fucking hide. I am, for all intents and purposes of my own understanding, like, I look around this country and I can see nobody has a fucking clue. Well, I can see one group of people that do, but at the same time, they're alienated from the fucking power structure. So it don't make no sense. Like, alright, hey, what can you do? What can you do aside from slowly kill ourselves to avoid harvest and try to wake up as many people as we can? People stop, like, fucking, I mean, and don't worry about me with the supply chain thing, man. Like, I mean, it's so much easier just to, like, think about it this way. You get somebody that, like, throws, like, all right, they climb up a fucking big giant electrical pole and, a 5-pack of dynamite, they fucking put on a timer, dude, or whatever. They send a drone up there with a flamethrower to fucking light it, do it old school. Boom, there goes all the power. And then somebody puts another fucking 5-sticker on, like, a giant water main that's, like, maybe like a fucking 14-inch pipe, highly pressurized. Boom. They're going to shut down the pumping stations. They're going to run out of electricity, so you're going to have your water towers. I mean, there's like a million fucking ways just to, like, shut everybody off, make them think twice. And then there'll be like some cover story, blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, no, man, actually, you got fucking your own homegrown people blowing your fucking shit up because life's so shitty for them and they can't understand why. And they take a look around and all this is opportunity everywhere and nobody's seizing it. And there's no money and there's like fucking all these empty houses, but they're like fucking $300,000 a piece. And there's like, yeah, right, dude. Like, we're not that fucking stupid. So, I mean, it's time for either somebody with some serious fucking rhetoric to come out and start fucking hitting heavy, or you guys are gonna get stuck with me. So, which, what can you do about it? You can't do anything. Like, you can't do anything about it. I don't even want this. I don't even want this at this point. It's such a fucking mess. Like, when I was younger, I wanted to be president, but now, nah, man, it's such a fucking mess. Like, holy shit. What I want to do is start a whole new country, okay? I don't want to have to resort to tactics of having a fucking... Because people want to talk about civil war and blah, 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 man. That shit ain't never going to fucking happen. There's never going to be a civil war because you ain't got no enemy. Like, who's your enemy? You think Republicans are going to go to war against Democrats? Fuck no. The only thing that could possibly happen is a bunch of young people decide, hey, man, fuck this, and they start just going taking houses. And then you're going to have, like, it might, like, boil over into some, like, maybe organized gang warfare, but mostly the sheriff would be like, man, I ain't even going to question those fucking people living there. And then, I mean, come on, what are you going to do? You can go knock on a door and, like, fucking, like, 3 hot 20-year-olds would, like, answer the door and be like, I don't know, we just rent someplace to sign a lease. Like, what do you mean we're being evicted? We have a lease signed right here. Then what? And those girls just living there for free, saving their money, banking their money. And getting ready for the fucking, coming storm that apparently, like, is the storm that happens when, like, you let your country fall apart, you lose a whole bunch of your fucking population, and then you just don't dump a bunch of money back in the economy and be fucking, hey. So what you get is, like, all the people that were in the know can continue to vertically integrate and fucking take over every aspect of our society. So not only do we have these great fucking, like, externalities that are threats. They got us totally by the balls. Like, just make us in a cage. Then we have the same exact thing overlaid on top of us by our own fucking kind. I mean, just a bunch of shitbird fucking humans, or a bunch of cowards. I mean, I'm at the point where I don't know. I don't know what to do aside from start fucking start telling people how it is, and then get people that are electable into office. I mean, at that point, I mean, there's people running unopposed, man. There's nobody running this country. It's a runaway freight train. I mean, come on. Donald Trump lost to Joe Biden. I mean, even fucking, like, come on, man. Come the fuck on. Even, I mean, once you get Trump up there, man, Trump's got a voice, man, come on, man. Like, it's already been done. It's already been done. Yeah, a little fucking private army starts showing up, fucking raiding $1 million homes on the beach side. They're from some neighboring country that we don't even have a name for them. They're like, wait, how are you? And they just like blow it off, like, oh, they're Somali pirates, and then maybe our Coast Guard will get them. But I mean, there's not anywhere near what we think we have. And you start getting our military spread thin, state resources spread thin. There's nobody to take any jobs. There's nobody to even fucking paint that house they want to sell. Like, what now? Like, how do you... It's just the end unless we rebuild. So, we're going to get our shit together. Not be foolish about it, man. I gotta go, man. I love you guys so much, and thank you for listening, and stay strong, and don't give up. Try to cry every day, try to laugh every day. Think of something heartwarming or something that makes you cry for whatever reason. If you cry, like, help somehow. I'm not 100% sure on that, but like I said, there's up structure, down structure. You know, you're making some type of molecule for something else that, you know, gets. I mean, whatever, man. However crazy, you know. I mean, at this point, like, everything's fucking contrived around you, and once you wake up and you see it all contrived around you, and like everything's just like, it's like, well, all right, what for? You ask how and why. Then, like, the fucking truth is so dark and disgusting. You're like, son of a bitch, you know, you're like born a fucking slave to be harvested in the worst fucking possible way, and it's just utterly disgusting. And then we do these things to each other, or like the AI stands in our way, it doesn't help us, and nobody knows what's going on, and we think of like a world economy that is like doesn't even exist. Basically, you've got everybody overstating their populations, overstating their economy, and everybody's like all in on America. They're sending us all the food. They know we take in the refugees, and we can't afford to let those refugees like not know what the fuck's going on. They can't just get based above and just be some cog in the wheel, man. Like, oh, here, I'm gonna go participate in the American dream. I'm gonna sign up for a bank loan for $400,000 to buy a fucking $90,000 house. You know, and then I like, no, dude, don't buy that house. Check it out, man. I'll rent you for fucking a third of the price. And look, it's the same house. I just broke the window out the back. Here you go. Yeah, welcome to America. Because that's how it is. That's how it is for real. You got all this property, all this shit. Like, that's how it is for real. Like, there ain't no fucking, nobody paying that tax lien. They're claiming it's paid so they don't have to put it up for auction. So they don't have to put up fucking 500-600 houses per month for auction in your county, because that's how many are actually empty and that's how many people aren't paying. So they just report that, yeah, they paid the money. They paid their $12,000 property tax. Oh, you're there. Well, where's the money go? Like, come on. There should be county workers on the easement picking fucking weeds for the price of, like, everybody. I mean, where's the fucking money, people? Like, give me a fucking break. It ain't being spent because it ain't coming in, because they're lying about it coming in, so it doesn't create mass fucking hysteria. And I'm sick of being lied to like I'm a fucking idiot. So the only thing I know how to do is fucking keep all you liars from lying by fucking with your money. So, hey, that's what you want. Because you want to continue living a lie that you know is bullshit, but you don't want to, like, say nothing or do nothing about it. Like, I ain't got no tools about my voice. You know, I'm highly effective at building consensus. And if that consensus is to, like, rip you out of your fucking property and set it on fire, or start a new country and start a new army, yes it is. I'm going to do it. It's my fucking constitutional duty to fucking clean the house. You know, drain the swamp, fuck that, man. We're gonna go fucking hang you guys from trees. What are you thinking? Like, you can't pass a law like that. Are you out of your fucking mind? I mean, what are you gonna do when you're on military tribunal? What are you gonna do? We'll have half the Supreme Court justices on the fucking tribunal, man. Them people ain't stupid. That's the last branch left there. And we're like, yeah, man, you're fucking guilty. Look at what you did. Look at how your law fucking spiraled into this. You're telling me you can reasonably deny you didn't know what the fuck you're doing? Well, guess what? The punishment in the new America is going to be quite hefty. Because since you fucked us all over, here's the punishment. Right? You know how it's supposed to be? Or we just let these people keep fucking us over year after year, and then we like get some fucking immigrant population in here to buy a fucking overpriced house and pay a bunch of taxes that they don't fucking know no better. Like, so that's our scheme, and you guys are going along with it? Fuck that, man. I don't go along with that. So you want to rip off some third world fucking guy that comes here thinking he finally got to America, made it, and it takes some fucking, That's the whole crux of your existence is getting that guy to buy that house. That's it. Like, everything around you is totally based on the fucking equities market and the false fucking supply and demand. That equation, how that pans out with how many houses are here, how many houses are for sale. There's like fucking, and like over half the home. I mean, half the built homes in this country are just fucking, there's nobody in there, man. Go to Illinois, man. You drive around, you see fucking all these fucking, man, empty townhomes. Whole developments empty. You see buildings empty, like big fucking office buildings empty. You know, people living on the street or people paying for rent. What the fuck you paying for rent for? Like, if you got a group of like 500-600 people, go live in that fucking office building. There you go. Why the fuck are 600 people going to pay rent to some fucking guy in fucking Saudi Arabia? Or some fucking black hole fucking property management company that's owned by Berkshire Hathaway that's just, at this point, Warren Buffett don't even exist no more. I mean, the guy's a fucking algorithm. You think he makes his own fucking... He ain't there making moves. Come on, man. That guy just fucking print out a fucking probability fucking matrix, man. Boom. Here you go. All right, and then if you do this, how does that, he's going to run models. Okay, well, if I fucking short this or if I disrupt this supply chain, how does that pan out? And they do that on a micro scale all day long, 24/7, dude, with just computers. And they fucking just, it just keeps growing and growing and growing, and it siphons off from us. So, man, fuck that guy. What's he doing for us, man? He just buys up every property that fucking within 5 minutes that it goes on for sale. And that's dumb. And then he can't rent it because he wants to go lie to his investors. So, like, the whole false equity we have in our housing market is like the whole crux of our whole fucking civilization, is that people believe that their house is worth $400,000. Yeah, man. It would be worth $400,000 when there's people there to buy it. But right now, you got all these empty houses all across the country. Like, man, that house is just going to sit there off the market, and then somebody's going to pay the taxes for it for the next 7 or 8 years. And that's the story of Florida. Like, I mean, I've been here on and off for like over a decade, man, and it happens everywhere. It's speckled throughout the state. I mean, I was driving through, like, even before the pandemic hit, like, you go drive through an area like Spring Hill, Florida, man, and you got house after house after house, and, like, ain't nobody fucking living there, man. There ain't no car parked in the driveway, um, and it's like there's no lights on at night. So you drive down the street, and usually you'd see everybody's got their home lights on, and, like, there'll be a car parked out. It's like, man, it's like a ghost town. It's like a fucking ghost town. What the fuck? You know, you used to have 3-lane traffic going each way, man. You'd wait at the fucking light for like, like two, 3 cycles. There's no cycles. Oh, everybody left Florida. What, they get too hot? Like, whatever fucking storyline they're selling, this is nonsense. It won't help us. It won't help us to believe in it. Don't believe in that shit. Don't fucking believe in it. I'll challenge anybody. Because I'll come up with real world solutions, and then I'll challenge them in public on TV, and we'll watch fucking them get Beelzebub right there in front of your eyes, man. This person will fucking break down. They'll start like making personal attacks, or start making jokes that like don't make no sense. Like, we'll do a live debate of me and anybody of your choosing. I will rip their fucking logic apart, just by asking questions. I won't even make statements. I'll just simply ask questions, and we'll watch this guy's brain get fried right in front of you. I promise. That's like why all these like debates and shit are like in talk shows, and I mean, they're highly contrived, they're highly controlled. There's contracts and agreements, what can be said, what can't be said. I mean, it's fucking obvious, man. It's fucking obvious. I can rip anybody to shreds. And you'll watch them get Beelzebub. I mean, imagine Joe Biden getting all fucking crazy in Beelzebub. Imagine Joe Biden being like, "Hey, man, like, you got to answer this question. You're accountable to the public. Like, hey, why is this? Well, that's technically not an answer. We're asking you this specific question, yes or no. We're asking you this specific question, yes or no." And he won't be able to calculate. He'll want to answer, but the AI will calculate, and then he'll start being like getting all fucked up. And that's how it works. And then, like, since he won't be able to resort to violence, and he's supposed to be the president, like, instead he'll just like fucking his brain will set on fire, man. Like, that guy, he'll get stuck. And then it'll be so apparent that everything around you is fucking fake. I mean, I could debate the president and get that man stuck. Like, where he'd just be like, he'd look dumbfounded. Because he can't get mad. He can't get mad on TV. And then he can't even respond without there being a logical connection of all my questions, that will sum up to a conclusion. And he'll know damn well beforehand what that conclusion is, because he's going to be able to, like, not him, but whoever Beelzebub's in the fucking AI system is going to be like, "Oh, man, here goes Dan again, fucking with all this shit. What can I do?" So it's better if, like, Joe Biden just dies right there on the fucking, like, alright, we're going to make a spectacle instead, rather than the truth come out. So, spectacles you want, yeah, we can do that too. So, but if you're woke, man, like, we have a responsibility to ask people questions that, like, fuck with their mind, man. Knock them out of paradigm. Knock them out of paradigm. The best you can. Ask questions. When somebody says fucking weird shit, man, well, what do you mean by that? See if they can answer you. Ask people what day it is. Ask people hey, you know the date today? Do you know, what do you think about our president? And then, shit like that. See, make sure they're paying attention and know what the fuck's going on. You'll find that like you'll get that person that approaches you like at a gas station, man, like a homeless person, and like they won't know fucking nothing about the world. They won't have a cell phone, and all they're trying to do is eat you somehow. They're gonna ask you for a couple bucks, but really they're gonna want to like touch you, and not like they're gonna want to touch you, like they're gonna try to get to your blood somehow. Through skin to skin contact. They're gonna try to get you to go, and you're gonna use hypno phrases. First, they're gonna see if you're willing to give them money, willing to help. Depending on how much money you give them, and if you just sit there and keep staring at them, they're gonna keep on going. That's like yesterday. I saw this guy trying to sell this gold chain to this other guy in the parking lot, And I'm like thinking to myself, like, well, how do you even know that's real, man? That guy just like stamp on there, yeah, 14K, here you go. So it's like, man, like you could do some tests on it to see if it's actual gold. And why is he selling it in a parking lot rather than, I mean, so the other guy kept apologizing profusely that he couldn't buy it, and I'm like, I almost got out of the car to say no for the guy because the guy couldn't like actually say no. He kept saying, "Sorry, man, sorry, I don't have the money. I don't have the money." But the other guy selling the chain was like still like saying all these other fucking phrases. Like it was like he went down a script almost, like, and I mean he's just trying to sell that guy a fake fucking gold bracelet for more money for like $100, man. So yeah, bullshit. Like, I can't stand when I see shit like that, man. We're just gonna get down on each other and sell people fake fucking shit. Or, like, that guy looks at the other guy as he's, like, some Beelzebub. Like, he's a victim that's there specifically for this man to victimize. Like, yeah, God put you on this earth for me to, like, get down on you for $100. I mean, come on, man. I don't like what I see in my country, and I don't like the road we're on or the path, and I think that everything that I've been taught is bullshit. And now I feel obligated to attack my own government. As per the Constitution, it says it's our duty to take out our government when fucking shit like this happens. So obviously, like I want my government to prove to me there's 300 million people in this fucking country. I don't care what it takes, man. Have fucking Joe Biden take a photo with a selfie with everybody. Hey, I'm on a selfie bus. Like, hey, let's do a general accounting. Let's do something entirely new. Fuck Social Security number. Fuck all that. We got our wall built. Who's here is here. Count them up. Give them a slice. There you go. I mean, come on. This fucking coagulated fucking nonsense. Live here, live there. Macro fucking economic influencers. Hell no, man. Fuck that. Like, I see through all your bullshit. So either fucking put a bullet in my head or put me in charge. At this point, like, I'm too bitter. No matter where I go, I just see the same shit. So kill me or put me in charge. I would say pay me, but I don't even want your money no more. As Dan sits down. It's a sad day for us. We have to keep it together. Like, we have all these problems. And on top of it, we got all this fucking shit in our country. I gotta burn fuel just to fucking keep the globe warm and keep the fucking... so many problems. We have to work together. I love everybody. I love all of you. Don't give up.